Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi out here, and the Raptors beat the Minnesota Timberwolves for their second win consecutively this week. And yeah, it was awesome. The home streak is intact. That we have not lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Toronto since 2004. Like the stat that Karthika put up was that Grady Dick was 2 months old the last time we lost to the Timberwolves in the city of Toronto. Scotty did come back. A lot of predictions by Olex yesterday happened exactly like I thought. The refs were about what I thought they would be. And yeah, it was good stuff. We won. We took care of business. You know, some ways we've been wondering how would we do if we had like just IQ or Scotty back with us? Would that put us over the top in these close games that we've been playing lately to add up to winning? And well, we got our answer last night. It does. It does. Scotty had a huge impact last night. I have to give a lot of credit to Coach Rajakovic for a masterful job of rotations, playing the right guys and the right combinations at the right times, dancing around a minutes restriction for Scotty Barnes and making it all work really, really well. You know, the other side had periods of time where they could not score. The Minnesota Timberwolves had a period in the second quarter and later in the game where they went a drought without scoring for like 5 minutes of the game clock. Meanwhile, the Raptors had maybe a 2-minute period where we were dry and we couldn't score. But for the most part, we were finding the basket consistently the whole entire game. That's the rotations. That's the rotations, especially when you're dealing with 3 rookies in your rotation coming in and taking solid minutes, Shed, Battle, and Mobo. And, mixing it up with, bringing back an injured player that just returned that is on a minutes restriction. And then also, you got to try and find the stuff for the guys who've already been there feasting and make sure they can still play. RJ Barrett still stepping up and getting huge numbers. Grady Dick still finding his spots. And Jakob, just a little bit less of him, just turned down a little bit, but still a double-double and very effective. Yeah, it was a fantastic game last night. We're going to react to it. And we're also going to preview the home opener for the Raptors 905 today on the Raptor Freak channel. Let's go. Let's go. Cue the intro music. There is none. Isaac Campbell's first in, and he's got the Dunk logo along with Scotty Barnes. You know, we're a weird little crew, a team. Our team has got a neat look to it. We've got some very interesting individuals on this team, whether it's Yak's hairy shoulders, whether it's Grady's goofiness, whether it's RJ's ferocity, whether it's Davion and his bulldog mentality, and then Scott wearing these red-rimmed glasses last night. He had a real look to him, and it was cool, man. It's just like the team is such a weird like chemistry and synergy. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome. You can tell they really do enjoy playing with each other. RJ and Scotty just effusive about the roles that each other play in this team. As far as like, RJ said, oh, it's so fun to play with Scott. It's just fun, man. And then Scotty just going on and on about how RJ is so unstoppable and unbelievable. Like this guy, you get him the ball and he just goes in there and he just does what he wants, man. It's so good to play with RJ. We fit like a glove. These are Scott's own words. Anybody who's having any kind of issue with like how Scotty and RJ gonna fit, man, they fit real nice. They fit real nice. You see how they fit. As in last night, you see how they fit. It's amazing, man. Trevor J saying, in the end, people will judge you anyway, so don't live your life impressing others. Live your life impressing yourself. I love that. I love those words of wisdom. Don't be a people pleaser. In some ways, I've tried to people please in the past, and I've got burned for it. You know what they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And it's good to have good intentions. Do nice things like Commissioner J does for people. Here's $1,000 for your groceries. Stuff like that. That's good. But sometimes you go and do something nice for somebody. It turns into a whole other thing. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, just be authentically yourself. If you start changing who you are just to please some certain people, well, you're not being yourself anymore. And that's important, to be yourself. That's more important than making everybody happy. Let's just put it that way. Thank you, Commissioner J, for your words of wisdom. Always wise, always here. I appreciate Trevor. He's a rock for this channel. He really is. Trevor's saying big win last night. Let's go, Raptors. That's right. Let's go and look at the box score. Since Trevor brought it up, he's got all the Raptor heads in a row there with the spray can. Spray can. All right, my first star of the game last night is RJ Barrett. For the second game in a row, RJ just handling business, y'all. That's right. He puts this jersey on for the city because he is from the city, and it means more. It hits more. It's like, man, oh, man, I've been watching this team my whole life, rooting for them, and to put this jersey on and to do this for them, it's just like a dream. That's what he's saying. Man, it makes a Toronto man's heart swell bigger with pride and pride to hear this coming from our guy, RJ Barrett, our native son, our dude who's going out there and putting his city on his back and carrying them through the lane while he lays up a crazy ass layup around Rudy Gobert. Man, you got to love this dude. RJ, 10 of 14. And this is the thing that's most impressive about this game last night. This team from Minnesota, it's like they are on growth hormone or something. I'm kidding. I don't think they really are, but they are so long. They're so long. You know, they have these lineups out there where everybody's got like go-go gadget arms. Seriously, you got Jalen McDaniel's brother, Jaden, out there. You got Nickel. You got Naz Reid. You got Rudy, of course. And even Julius Randle's a giant. And these dudes just have long wingspans. And the fact that we busted through the whole problem we've had this year with big teams, like in the first game against the Cavs, the first game of the season, they stymied us. The Clippers, we go out to LA and Zubac and the tallness of the Clippers stymied us. Well, did the Timberwolves height stymie us last night? No, it didn't. In fact, we shot a very high percentage last night, as evidenced by RJ's 10 of 14. We were smart. Darko's plans and the way he sees the game came through against a taller, more imposing opponent on defense. And the backdoor cuts, the draws, the ways that we got to the basket and got high percentage shots was masterful. And a credit to our coach's system and the very, very talented skills of some of the players, RJ Barrett specifically. 10 of 14 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 10 of 12 from the free throw line. He did fantastic at the free throw line. This is kind of his personal battle is the free throw line right now for RJ. He's been so hard on himself. Kayla Gray, how dare you bring up the free throws at the end of the game saying, I won't bring up the free throws. They're like, look, the man went 10 of 12, Kayla. Isn't that good enough for you? Come on now. This wasn't no 5 for 12. This was a 10 of 12. So don't get mad at RJ for his free throws. Don't even bring it up. Let's just act like what he did last night is normal, and it will be normal going forward because he is really giving a shit about his free throws. It's obvious. And he took care of them last night. And honestly, it mattered. It mattered in a 5-point game like last night. Every single point mattered. The free throws mattered. And RJ knows this. And that's why he takes them very seriously. And when he fails at the free throw line, he hates it. And he's going to make sure he comes back and does it right the next time. 7 rebounds for RJ, 3 assists, 3 steals, 4 turnovers, 31 points. In fact, RJ looked at the box score. And the press was like, why'd you groan when you looked at the box score? RJ say, I saw my turnovers. 4 turnovers. Oh, that's no good. That's no good. So this man is going for perfection. This man is not liking missed free throws and turnovers, just like me. And we're on the same page. So that's why I have complete trust in the authenticity of RJ Barrett carrying his team and putting it on his back and carrying us to victories sometimes, man. I love that he got 12 free throw attempts. He's finally getting some respect from the referee crew and getting put on the line correctly. Yeah, he should have been getting this kind of stuff. We were free throw merchants in the second half. It looked like they were going to be looking at giving them free throws like crazy. Minnesota came out and got a ton of free throws early in the game. And in fact, that was the only way they were keeping up with us because they were shooting like shit. And we were killing it. We were playing awesome right away. And they couldn't make any shots, but they were free throw merchants early. Mark Lindsay and Sheree Mitchell and them putting him on the line early. But then they put us on the line in the second half. And it was all good, baby. Yeah, it was all good. RJ getting his due to get to the free throw line. Finally, RJ gets respect and gets to go to the free throw line. Thank you, Mark Lindsay. Thank you, Mark Lindsay. Yes, my second star of the game is the big bad Yak. That's right. I'm going to still get – oh, no, wait, it's not Yak. It's Boucher. Sorry. is Chris Boucher off the bench. I cannot overlook the sixth man of our team, Chris Boucher, the great Canadian, the two Canadian guys carrying us. Chris off the bench was fantastic last night. 7 of 13 from the field, 3 of 8 from three, 5 of 8 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block, a plus 11 with 22 points in 26 minutes. Chris was our bench scoring, and he was tenacious. And I love how he has that trigger on the three now. In some ways, he's throwing it without any reservations. In some ways, it's not always good, but it's most of the time it's looking swish, even with hand in his face, even with the runner running out at him. That man's bombing the three with confidence right now. And that's why I say, shoot on, Chris. Keep shooting. Keep shooting, man. You're one of our better three-point shooters this year, and I love it. Chris, of course, down there mixing it up always with big goofs like Rudy Gobert and trying to get those rebounds. You know, he's hitting the floor. He's getting hit around. He's getting hit in the face. You know, he's a tough guy, and he does things right for us, and he sacrifices all the time. Chris Boucher, you got my respect, my guy. You got my respect. I really love that lineup that was out there for a little while. That was Barrett, Boucher, Barnes, Mobo, and Battle or something like that. There was no point guard. It was more that like they had a bunch of bigs out there, and that was a fun lineup out there. When you have Boucher, Mobo, and Barnes out there at the same time, there's a lot of energy and hustle and get after it right there. a lot of that, and that was a fun lineup for sure. Chris, so I salute you. Second star of the game. I jumped ahead, and Jakob is my third star of the game. I got to give Jakob credit for being efficient in the time given to him, and also getting double-doubles. In some ways, he is still so essential. In the beginning of the game, he negated Rudy Gobert's height advantage and all the different things he can do to hurt a team. He was out there battling with him. He was taking rebounds from him. He was getting around him. He was even screening our guys and him out of the way so that RJ could make layups. You know, Jakob's doing a lot of unsung stuff on the team. 5 of 8. He didn't get the volume of shooting now that Scotty was back, and that's to be expected. In some ways, Jakob Poeltl is an emergency valve, and we've been going to the emergency valve too much lately in some ways, but he was very effective and over again. But in some ways, we don't want to rely on Jakob for so much of the offense because in some ways we'll wear him down by the end of the year. But yeah, 5 of 8, 5 of 8 at the free throw line also. 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 turnovers, 15 points in 29 minutes. It's an understated game for Yak, but very, very good. And we saw the great passing between RJ and Scotty to him at different times. And Jakob, you're just solid, bro. And you're a fighter, and you're very smart. And the guys enjoy playing with you because you're a high IQ player. That's Scotty's own words after the game last night. Yeah, so Yak, thank you. Not as much as like another 30-point game, but 15 points with 12 rebounds, we'll take it. That's the big man's work right there. Yeah, my fourth star is Scotty returning. Scotty had a great game for his first game back. I would say there's a couple of things. His rhythm's a little bit weird and off. He was a chaos agent for a little while in this first half. You know, he got really mad after he made that three, and he did his blam blam celebration directed at a specific Timberwolf player. I think it might have been Anthony Edwards, and Jason Goldenberg wasn't having it. Jason Goldenberg teched him up, and Scotty had a big hissy fit. He was just like, "Oh, why did you call that on me?" Blah, 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 going off and on. I'm like, Scott, man, this is embarrassing. Don't do this, man. Seriously. I mean, I get it. In some ways, you know, you think that's innocuous, but in today's world with gun violence, it's not. It's not an innocent little gesture to go blam, blam, blam like that at another individual. Now, some people have done the blam, but they don't pull it back. They don't actually make it look like you're holding a gun and getting recoil. That's what you did wrong. You could do like the arrow. You could go, you can just hold your hand out and point. You could do a freeze. But when you make a hand gesture like you're holding a gun and you're shooting off a couple of rounds at somebody, the NBA ain't going to like that. And I hope that that's what he described to you and said why that was wrong. Because honestly, that's not a good look. This is John Morant kind of shit that you did with your celebration last night. And in some ways, I talked about the immaturity of your draft class coming in with Justin and Delano and Fred stuff yesterday. I'm just saying this is that kind of shit right here. Unnecessary. And in some ways, all right, I get it. You wanted to figure out and talk to Goldenberg for a while after that what went wrong. But you know what you did? You got an illegal defense called on us after that, and they gave an extra free throw to the Timberwolves just out of the blue because you wouldn't let it go. And this is a problem, Scott. In some ways, I get it. You care a lot, and that is important. I'm glad you care more than you don't care. But you've got to understand and pick your place when to go and interact with these guys. Now, if you talk to Jason Goldenberg and he explained to you why he was not happy with your celebration, and you listened to him and you showed respect in that way, maybe that's why you started getting calls when you called him out later. Like you did 2 specific calls later that absolutely were fantastic, and the refs listened to you. The first one was you go into the basket, you're up in the air, and Naz Reid puts 2 hands on you and pushes you in the air. Now, you know from talking to the refs that when they do that, they can get called for a flagrant because that's a dangerous play. A man is up in the air, they have no control of their body. Somebody comes over and pushes them with 2 hands, they could land sideways and hurt themselves badly. Well, Jason heard you call out 2 hands. He pushed me with 2 hands. We all heard you. We all heard you on the broadcast. It was fantastic. And you were right. And you actually got Mark Lindsay to go and watch cartoons and declare that that was a flagrant foul. And that was very good for our team. So and sometimes your whining and crying is very effective. But I would say this, man, you may be getting in trouble for being the boy that cried wolf. You don't want to do this unless it's absolutely bona fide, like it was last night. Because if you complain too much, the refs are going to think you're annoying, bro. I'm going to tell you that right now. The other time he called it out, and he was exactly right, was when Rudy Gobert was in the lane for 3 seconds. And Scotty called that shit out real loud. We could hear it all through the TV. 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds. And he was right. And it was a turnover. And boom, we got the ball back. So, some of the communication Scott's having with the referees has been very effective, but also some of it totally unnecessary. And you don't want to cross the line where the refs are pissed at you and stuff like that. And in some ways, they don't want whining and complaining, Scott. Talk to them like an adult and talk to them very forcefully and just say, look, I didn't do this. They didn't do that. They did that. I need you to do this for me. Talk to them like human beings. Don't yell at them like they're, somebody that you hate or something like that. That's the problem. You're intense. And in some ways, they were punitive towards you after the celebration, but then they came back and rewarded you for being loud and calling shit out too. I don't know. It's a weird thing, man. But yeah, Scotty, you were awesome last night. I love the glasses. You kind of got a nerdy look, but it's cool, man. It's cool, bro. And I love the unabashed threes, just those very confident threes. I love the high post game of you and Mobo playing off each other. The really nice little switch things. I mean, I'm not worried about y'all turning the ball over because y'all know each other so well. That chemistry has been intact since the 3rd grade. And, doing a high post pick and roll with Jonathan Mobo looked real fruitful. With you getting a very nice, like, turnaround little fadeaway, just shooting over Buddy there. That is a play that you could do anytime. I wrote him that this morning. I said, Scotty, you could do this anytime you want. Get in the paint, get a paint touch, and just loft it over them with a fadeaway or something like that, a high percentage shot, because anything within 15 feet is high percentage for Scott. It really, really is. And I enjoy him mixing it up. I don't mind the threes. The threes are good when they're going too. But I want more down low also. And you got to mix it up. Get all levels. Get that midi. Get that 3-point range. Attack the rim too. Really, really good stuff. Scotty's 5 for 11. 2 of 5 from 3, 5 of 6 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 17 points. Yeah, just fantastic, man. In some ways, he was on a minutes restriction and he didn't play his full minutes, and he got like production like he would if he had played most of his minutes that he normally would. In some ways, that kind of told me something that, like, sometimes, Scott's been out there and he's kind of been just kind of running cardio through the game, and then he just does something in the 4th quarter. That was the old thing with him. Well, in some ways, if he's on a little bit less minutes, like, he's going to get his minutes increased, obviously. Maybe he's going to put more effective, very productive minutes out there for the little bit of time that he's out there. It seemed like he wasn't out there enough, right? There were times where you're like, man, Scott's on his minutes restriction. He's sitting on the bench, but it was kind of healthy. In some ways, it allowed the old, what was going on before Scott returned to flourish and do the things they were doing, like, RJ and Jakob and Grady have been doing. And Scotty could come in and do his moments also. I thought Scotty was got better and better as the game went on. And specifically, he got better on the defensive end. He was really locked in. And man, we have a whole other component to our defense when Scotty's available and healthy. We just have another very quick, long arm person that's really going to agitate. And in fact, that was shown with how difficult it was for Minnesota to score in the fourth quarter. They had a really hard time scoring on us. Some of it was Mike Conley being out, their point guard. He really sets them up. But some of it was we were just so locked in as a team on defense. There's a lot of trust. I love that we're staying at home and playing one-on-one. I mean, we do switches, but we're very cognizant of the switches and the mismatches they create, and we're helping each other out. If Davion Mitchell gets switched to Rudy Gobert, well, Jonathan Mobo's around to help double, to come over and help right away. That's that kind of stuff that's team extra. In some ways, we are a very good team because we love playing with each other, and we're having a fun, and we have a synergy, and they actually are rooting for each other. So many other NBA teams have rivalries on the down low, people that want to get that last slice of cake, and there's only one piece of cake, and somebody's got to eat it. But on this team, there's unselfishness. There's a celebrating of everybody else, and when you have that on a team, it's more purely basketball in the team sense. And that is what we're getting out of our Raptors right now. It's a culture and a feel around it built by Darko Rajakovic that makes it like this. And I appreciate my coach for it. I really do. Because honestly, this is the way basketball is intended to play. It's not intended to play a superstar just takes the ball over and over again and scores by himself in isolation. It's supposed to be passing and cutting and celebrating your team together as teammates. And each individual's accomplishments are the accomplishments of the whole. That is the beautiful thing that Darko has managed to build in the crazy ass NBA, where it's so much money and so selfish and so much ego involved in this league. That is accomplishment, y'all. That is accomplishment. And for Darko haters, that's why I say to you this morning, how could you want to fire a coach that has cultivated this kind of environment of camaraderie and teamwork and teammates on this team? You're an idiot if you're like that. My fifth star is Scott's friend John, who he gave out a shout out to after the game. He said, yeah, the bench did really good. Chris, Davion, Jameson, and John. And the reporters were kind of like, what, John? John? No, that's what he's called him on Twitch for years. That's his best friend, Jonathan Mobo. That's what he called him, John. John did a good job last night. John did a good job. Yeah, Jonathan, 19 minutes, 3 for 6, 5 offensive rebounds. That's what I really like, is J-Mo has a nose for the ball, just like the worm. I'm telling you, there's stuff he's doing out there that's Dennis Rodman-like. He's tracking balls where they come off the rim. He's tracking where they are, and he's going to get them. If he's not getting them out right, he's tipping the ball somewhere to somebody else. That's Rodman shit. That's Dennis Rodman shit. Jonathan Mobo, you want me to fall in love with you? You going to play like the icon that I love, that Dennis Rodman is, the rebounding great? You going to play like him? Well, you're going to make me have you as a fan favorite of mine very, very soon, because of the way you're getting after the ball and the loose balls. 5 offensive rebounds, 7 altogether, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 turnover, +5 with 6 points in 19 minutes. I could have made a lot of different other people the 5th star of the game, but I felt like I wanted to give Mobo some shine for his energy and getting after it. And it's a joy to watch childhood friends play together. There's a lot of history between Mobo and Barnes. And this is a dream that these kids thought of like 10 years ago that's realized now. And it's just fantastic. Jonathan was a long shot to make the NBA, and now he's here, and he's bona fide. That man is a real NBA pro. This is not fucking Bronny James shit. This dude belongs in the league. It's evidenced by what we're seeing here. Even Jonathan, off that high pick and roll with Scott, he managed to make a 10 or 15 footer away from the basket also. That was eye-opening to me. When I saw Jonathan make that outside shot, it was a little bit, it was like a midi. And I was like, whoa, Jonathan made a shot, just in the flow of the offense. That's the other thing about our rookies, is they're not doing crazy outlandish shit. Yeah, Jameson Battle stepped out of bounds and caused an unforced turnover with a rookie mistake. But most of the time, these rookies aren't trying to force shit. You can look at Rob Dillingham on the other side. You can look at Stephon Castle down in San Antonio. These guys are the kind of players that force shit. because they want to go and get their offense. And they're kind of the type I was just describing, ego, and there's only one slice of cake. I got to go get it. But our rookies are playing within the system and the flow of the game, and there's no aberrations. There's no coloring outside the lines as far as like, are you supposed to be doing this right now, Jonathan Mobo? Are you supposed to be doing this right now, Jamison Battle? No. These guys are playing within the system and doing what coach told them to do and not trying to call their own number and be Kennedy Chandler running at the basket with the ball. No, these guys are awesome, man. These rookies are badass. And I have some honorable mentions. I mean, I did my 5 stars, RJ, Chris, Jakob, Scotty, and Jonathan. But Davion Mitchell, honorable mention. Grady Dick, honorable mention. Yeah, these guys did a good job as a team. It was a team effort. And that's what RJ said after the game, that this was a great team effort. It really was. And this is the other thing. Part of the reason why we beat Minnesota is because we had better overall team contributions from multiple different people in their areas of what they do to add up to a victory over Minnesota. That's a good team. That's a team that was the best defensive team in the league last year. And we shot a very, very good percentage last night against them. That's amazing, man. Trevor's saying RJ was interviewed by NBA Game Time. Good to see that they give us some shine. Yeah, that's annoying. That punk ass little fool, Chris Myers or whatever the fuck his name is again. I don't remember his last name. He was the guy who got his timeshare called out by Sam Mitchell. Yeah, punk ass little bitch. They get in the interview and he calls him Broadway Barrett. He's like, I'm going to call you Broadway Barrett. You see, that's that bullshit from the NBA US media. Dude does not play in Broadway no more. You're going to call him Broadway Barrett? What the fuck is wrong with you, Chris? You little shit. Sam Mitchell, tell us his real house's number, his real address. Like, what is that bullshit? Seriously, this is RJ Barrett. He puts on the jersey of Toronto Raptors for his city now. And you calling him Broadway Barrett? What the fuck? Get with it. Get with it, you idiot. No, Chris. Little NBA TV motherfucker. Of course, they're going to do bullshit like that on American television. And in some ways, when RJ started talking about how much it's important and how much he loves playing for his country and his city, that guy started making little shit faces like he's smelling Pete poop. A dirty diaper. It's like, yeah, motherfucker. He loves playing for his city. He's putting his city on his back. He's getting W's, motherfucker. You little shit NBA TV, Chris, with your Broadway Barrett bullshit. Yeah. Did you like hearing RJ say, I love playing for Canada? I love playing for Toronto, and I love getting W's for Toronto. You little piece of shit on NBA TV where your timeshare at Sam Mitchell blowing you up. Yeah, you deserve that. I mean, seriously, when RJ started talking about, I love playing for my hometown. I'm so happy to be back here on the Raptors. That guy started making faces like he could smell the vilest smell. Hater, American media hater, motherfucker. Yeah, they're giving him time, but they're being little gaslight and little piece of shit at the same time, Trevor J. Yeah, I was happy to see that too. But Broadway Barrett, do better. How about that? Do better, motherfucker. That's what I say right there. Trevor's saying, Darko said Davion came in and changed the game. Yeah, let's talk about Davion. His defense on Anthony Edwards, it was off night for Edwards. Yeah, Edwards had a horrible first half. He was not doing well at all. He was an afterthought. We were really, really bugging them good. And that's part of the great gifts of Davion Mitchell, Jamal Shed, Ochai Agbaji, Grady Dick. Scotty's back in the mix with all this too. And we really stifled him. We made him a key point for our defense, and we did a great job on him in the first half. The second half, he came out and he wanted his, so he came and got it. To a degree, he was hitting some threes. They were just another level in the NBA. That's what Anthony Edwards can do. That is the kind of scorer that he is. But overall, I thought that Mitchell and Agbaji and those kind of guys did a really good job containing him for the most part. Yeah, Davion Mitchell didn't score last night. He was 0 for 4. He missed both his three-point attempts. He was 3 for 4 at the free throw line with 3 points, with 8 assists and 3 turnovers. Jack noting the assisted turnovers in the broadcast last night. Very impressed with it. In some ways, he got one of those turnovers late. 2 rebounds, a plus 20, though. The highest plus minus on the Raptors last night, and that's an effect. That is indicating an effect of him helping them win when we outscore the Minnesota Timberwolves plus 20 while Mitchell's on the court. Stuff that, Pensair, in your hat, you dumbass. And I would tell people, y'all that only gauge players by how much they score and all that kind of stuff, you're idiots. You do not understand basketball. There's a lot of moving parts to the clock. And in some ways, Davion Mitchell was a very, very important part of the clock that helped it read the right time for the Raptors to win. And I'm just saying, what Trevor just told me about him shutting down Anthony Edwards is the truth. And in some ways, that, hey, listen, we may not have OG anymore, but we got guys like Shed and Mitchell and Abaji. They're going to get after it on defense, and maybe they're a little bit OG in them. And that's what we're seeing off night for Anthony Edwards. That's what I say right there. Like, it's not all about scoring, young fans. It's not all about three-point shooting. There is a lot to this game of basketball and how you can win. And we don't all have to be the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry bombing threes left and right. You guys got to understand there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, so to speak. It's not a very good saying, though. Who is out there skinning cats? That's not nice. But yeah, Davion Mitchell, 0 for 4. Who cares? He's a plus 20. And they kicked some ass with him. Grady Dick last night, 34 minutes, 4 of 9 from the field goals, 1 of 4 from 3. He had that one money 3. And that's all I ask. Sometimes Grady's not going to get a lot of threes in the game, but when he gets that one open one, and we got to test it and say, yeah, he's money still. He hits that 3 when we need it. 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 4 turnovers, 9 points for Grady, and maybe one of the greatest lob alley-oop passes ever in the history of the Raptors franchise. The thing that I loved about that alley-oop play with Grady to RJ that is all over the place on everybody's social media this morning is that was in full tilt, full speed transition. There was no slowing down here. And in some ways, Grady didn't know exactly where RJ was. He was going on faith. In some ways, RJ described it as this after the game. I'm yelling at Grady all the way down the court. I'm saying, Grady, Grady, Grady. And I don't know if he's going to hear me, but I have to think that he is going to hear me and run it out just in case he does hear me to throw it up like that. And that's what that is. That's pure leap of faith. It's literally a leap of faith. That play was a leap of faith. And boy, did it pay off. And one of the most beautiful alley-oop plays ever in the history of the Raptors. That was full tilt transition, full speed. There's no adjusting. There was no checking in with each other to know exactly where each other were. That shows the complete connection between a Grady and an RJ to make that play. And it was beautiful. Oh, my gosh. Grady just threw it up over his shoulder. And RJ was there to throw it down with thunder. And boy, were they happy after that. Because you could feel that synergy connection. And it just feels good. If you're a basketball player, if you played, you know how it is when you hook up with a teammate and you get that really nice dime and they make sure they make it. Oh, it feels so good. And in some ways that was premium top good stuff. That alley-oop. Oh my gosh, man. I'm telling you, it was full tilt. They were going as fast as they could down the court. No check-in, and they did it. And they even did it in traffic. There were Timberwolves around them when they did this dunk. It's really impressive. Y'all need to seriously give this respect. Ochai Agbaji, 27 minutes, 2 of 5 from the field, 0 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, a minus 11 with 4 points. Not a very good game for Agbaji. If he was one of the dead notes on the piano last night, that's okay because we overall won. And I know that Agbaji was contributing because he was out there busting his ass and doing the things he does, even if the stats don't show it this morning. In some ways, once again, this is a guy like Mitchell that may not do a whole lot, but he's doing a whole lot, trust me, when he's out there because he's guarding people like Anthony Edwards. He's doing crazy-ass defensive things, like running all over the place like crazy and making sure that we're just on top of things. We work on defense, and we really make the other team work to try and make shots. It's not easy against us. Jamison Battle, 7 minutes, 1 for 1. He took a little popper in the mid-range, a stop and pop, and it was kind of cool. It's like the way he got it was in rhythm. He did a little move. I think this may have been one of the moves that Darko was teaching him last week, actually, with footwork work, where he's a little stop and pop. And as Jack said, he found his rhythm in the way he stopped. And then it's easy for him to make the shot. It was really, really good shot. And it shows that the Jamison Battle is not just a three-point shooter. In some ways, he has some of the stuff that Grady has fleshing out his offense, and that we could see more development in these areas in the long run. 1 rebound and 3 points. Plus 13 for Jamison Battle. Very solid spot duty last night. And Jamal Shed, a rough night, 8 minutes, 0 for 1, one rebound, one steal, but no turnovers and no assists. Just that kind of out there being an irritant, another like fresh energy body to just run at Anthony Edwards and the rest of them and just kind of get at them. You know, Jamal is a rookie. We got to keep remembering that. Even though he's so heady and cerebral and smart as a basketball player, he's still got a learning curve, and over time he'll get more and more savvy. It's just sometimes we're going to need him to be a little bit more off the rotation, little like less minutes, like last night. People come back and they displace minutes for people, and that's what happens. Scotty Barnes comes back, and well, the point guard hierarchy gets shifted because Darko starts Scotty at point guard. That was a very bold decision. After the game, the reporters asked Darko, "Why did you start that starting lineup?" He said, "I wanted to have fun. I wanted you guys to have fun too." I mean, I thought it worked really well. And the main message was that he trusts RJ and Scott to be point guards. That's why he did it, is because, you know, RJ's shown such amazing things in recent weeks as a distributor, and that Scott is what we know he is already. And that, you know, this is not a problem at all. In some ways, you know, IQ will come back and he'll be a starter and he'll be the point guard. But in some ways, it's like we said, there's a pointless system with us. There's no real point. Everybody's a point guard. And Emmanuel Quickly is more likely to be a shooting hybrid guard in this lineup with RJ or Scotty bringing the ball up the court. Hell, we even saw Jakob bring the ball up the court last night once. That was crazy to me. I was like, okay, Jakob, you go ahead and bring the ball up the court. We don't have no point guard right now, so you might as well bring the ball up the court. Yeah, we learned about what the word guard means too last night. There was a moment where we didn't have either Davion or Jamal in the game, and Minnesota got a really easy transition basket because nobody was back to guard. If anybody's ever wondered why that position is called guard, that is the epitome of why. The guard is supposed to get back and be back in time to stop a fast break because they're usually a fast, speedy guy, and they're usually at the top of the key because they shoot threes and they're not working inside. So it's the important job of the guard. It's a defensive-oriented term to guard the basket from transition, from quick baskets coming back. And there was a moment where we didn't have a real true point guard out there, and the job title got lost. In some ways, Chris Boucher was the guy who was furthest back that should have been getting back there quicker, but we didn't. And that's when Darko has to call a timeout and remind everybody, look, if I'm not going to play a point guard, somebody's got to be back there to stop the easy transition baskets for our opponent. Yeah, so that's why they call it a guard. If anybody's ever wondered why do they call the position guard, well, the epitome of the example of why that position is called guard was shown last night in that play. Yeah, I'm really happy with our guys. Too bad we didn't get some Shamshay. Too bad we didn't get some Walter because both of them were dressed for the game last night. Jacoby Walter cleared to play, but you know what? Hey, these are the breaks, NBA rookie. In some ways, your other rookie buddies have been playing and contributing. Well, in some ways, you got to get in that rotation. You got to get your chances. And this is why not being healthy is not good for you, bro. Now, here's the interesting thing. We got a 9:05 home opener today against the Long Island Nets. And it was said after the game that Darko is going to take the whole entire Raptors team, the whole roster, to the 9:05 game tonight to support our G League affiliate. And it's very likely that some of the guys that have not played for 9:05 will be making their debuts tonight against the Long Island Nets for the Raptors 9:05. And I'm talking about Jonathan Mobo, Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, Jamison Battle. That these guys should be suiting up. And Eugene Omoruyi will also be making his debut for the 9:05 today. This is going to be a fun game in Paramount with the Raptors going to be in the house. So fans, if you want to go, man, you probably see all the Raptors sitting down. Now, don't be like Panzer and try and get an autograph from Fred VanVleet or bug the Raptors while they're there. In some ways, they're there to show support. They want to be there they don't want to be mobbed by the 9:05 crowd, even if they're in the house. And Darko made it clear that the whole entire roster is coming. Everybody's coming. The whole team is coming as a team event. So we should see the whole entire Raptors team at the 9:05 game tonight. Obviously, Sky's going to want to see Jonathan play down there. And, guys like Mobo are going to be excited to play their first 9:05 game and hopefully get a lot of minutes and show out. And RJ's just going home. Why not go back to Mississauga and sit at courtside and watch the 905 game. The game tonight is being refereed by Julian Scott, crew chief, number 61. Jafar Kinsey is the referee, number 38. And Marpir Malo, the Canadian ref, is number 70, is the third ref. So those are your refs for the G League. Raptors 905 versus Long Island Nets, 7 o'clock, a tip-off. Well, I hope you'll join me in the YouTube chat and watch it with me tonight. Yeah, we'll be watching that game. Looking at the Long Island Nets roster, they have a record similar to us. They're like 1-4, just like us. So they're not really out the gates that strong. Looking to see who they have on their team that is of any note. And there's not a lot of names. Not like the Capital City Go-Go, who had a lot of names. Dariq Whitehead is on this team as a guard out of Duke. AJ Lawson is on this team also. And then maybe the biggest name on this team for the Nets is Killian Hayes. He is not him, is him on the Nets now, the Long Island Nets. And that's, Killian Hayes is going to be on this game tonight. He is not him, right? It's another guy. See, it's so bad that it's like I get them confused. There was a New York guy that was he is not him, but he's kind of similar. But Killian Hayes is the most notable Long Island Net. Otherwise, they have a bunch of guys I've never heard of. So it should be a good game. Hopefully the 905 will get their first victory at home right away in this first game tonight. And having the Raptors there to cheer them on will help, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure that'll help, having them around. That'll be cool, man. Yeah, Nako's here. Let's see what's going on. Nako's saying RJ, Scotty, Boucher, Mobo, Yak, Cinema. Yeah, it was fun, man. I mean, you got the beautiful court, the beautiful jerseys. I like that they're black. They kind of bling different on the screen because they're black. And it's just a good time, man. Good vibes, good win, good team return. Scotty Barnes, and just a great game. In some ways, we noted last night that when the Raptors honor Vince Carter, we win. We retire his jersey. We put on his logo on our jerseys, and we win. But when Vince calls the game in the announce booth, we lose. He's called 2 games. Our in-season tournament game against Milwaukee. I think that was the game. Was it Detroit that he called? One of those 2. And then he also called the first game of the season, and both were losses. So maybe we just kind of keep honoring Vince. Some people were saying just keep wearing these jerseys. They like them. In some ways they're different enough than the expansion stuff, and the purple isn't so paramount that I'm okay with this in some ways. Like in some ways I don't want to honor Vince over and over again. Maybe we could make a couple of different Raptor logos doing different famous Groats poses. Like maybe we have a Kyle Lowry taking a charge Raptor logo jersey. That'd be fun. Or maybe a DeMar DeRozan signature dunk jersey. That'd be fun. Why not do a Prima Pasta one? I don't know. Let's just get different ones. We don't have to do Vince for all of them, right? Okay. I mean, I'm just saying. Let's see. Monique is here. Monique went to the game last night and had a blast. One of the most fun games she's been to in a long time, I'll bet. Monique had a blast. Let's see. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. Good vibes, great vibes. What more can I say? Scotty, Chris, Grady, RJ, keep climbing. Love it, boys. Wolves will never win in Toronto. Way to go, Darko and coaches. Yeah, I'm really happy with our coach, man. He's made watching basketball in Toronto fun again. And in some ways, he's, like I said, he's got these guys on the right page and the right attitude, even though they're 4-12. That is amazing. The fact that a 4-12 team is acting like they're just on cloud 9, just happy team is a real accomplishment. I'm telling you, man, this is so hard to do. You get mired in negativity and losing. And our team is not. It's sailed this ship right through all of it and just been like eyes on the prize. We know what we are. We're going to get there one day. We're going to keep striving. And that's what's happening right now. Monique, thank you for going to the game and bringing the vibes for the Raptor Freak family in person and getting all the good, great vibes that you're talking about. Because it was great vibes through the TV in all kinds of ways. So much fun to watch last night. Trevor's saying Minnesota has not won a game in Toronto since 2004. That's right. That's a long time ago. They were saying that Gary Trent Sr. played for us, played in that game. Gary Trent Sr. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't know why. I thought that Minnesota beat us last year, but then I remembered we played Minnesota on the first game of the season, and we beat them last year. Even though last year we lost to everybody, Detroit, Washington, Charlotte. We were losing to all the bad teams last year. And I was like, wait, did we beat Minnesota in Toronto last year? And I was like, oh, wait, that was the home opener. And we did beat them because we won our home opener last year, unlike this year. Yeah, I mean, I guess we do have this record intact. Don't count Tampa. No, no, Emily Arena, that's Florida, and that wasn't really a home game. No, it wasn't. It's kind of amazing, honestly, because the Timberwolves have been very good in recent years, and we have been pretty bad in recent years. So it's kind of an interesting stat. Most saying love seeing Vince Carter's reaction to the court on Twitter. Yeah, he's touched. He's touched. It's surreal to him, is what he said. This is so surreal. I mean, listening to Vince Carter's VC show this week and talking about it, he kind of gets, he won't say it outright. You know, when he talks about the relationship with Toronto, he leaves a lot of stuff out that he could say. In some ways, when he's talking on the VC show about the whole retirement ceremony of his jersey, he's leaving parts out. He's pausing. And in some ways, you know what he would say in the silences if he could be absolutely authentic, that it hurt him when Raptors fans booed the hell out of him for years. That the 10 years from 2004 to 2014 were really hard on him because he's a sensitive dude. And we were relentless, and rightfully so. The way that we treated that situation was right. And other people can be like, Raptors fans were so mean to Vince. Yeah, but what he did was fucking unforgivable in some ways. And in some ways, we haven't really totally forgiven him for it. We're just okay with what's happened because we understand his legacy is that important and that we did need to honor him, even if we don't like him. And that's the thing. I wish Vince would just come out and say on Vince Carter's VC show, I hated Toronto for 10 years because they booed the hell out of me. They were awful to me and my mom. And we've been adversaries for a long time, but now we've healed and we're okay now. And I'm so happy about this. It's so great. You know, that's part of the reason why he's been so emotional is because he thought all of us hated him because we did. And rightfully so. But then 2014, he says that the 10 years after that were different. That's not totally true. We still booed you in those 10 years. It just wasn't as vociferous, maybe not as high percentage. But yeah, you were still getting boos after 2014. But yeah, that's the whole thing. I just wish Vince would be like DeMar and be absolutely vulnerable and open about this whole situation because the rest of the healing will come with that. The rest of the healing will come for you, Vince, and it will come for us too because that's all we've been wanting. That's why we've said, why are we going to hear an apology for quitting on us? No, he has nothing to apologize for. That's what he said to Boogie. He said, I feel like I have nothing to apologize for. But then I can hear him apologize to somebody else for something stupid. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry I did this. I was like, wait, he's apologizing to somebody else for something. But he won't apologize to us for quitting on the Raptors fans. It is what it is. We're never going to get that apology. And as he said, we all fell in line with him getting his jersey retired, whether we liked it or not. I hate that kind of shit. This totalitarian kind of shit. In some ways, it isn't a democracy. It's Ed Rogers and MLSC making these decisions. And in some ways, you know, if they had actually put the poll up and seen if we actually wanted this to happen, they may not have liked the results. So it is what it is. In some ways, Vince won't just come out and outright just say, you know, I was hurt and this is the healing and this is why I'm so emotional about this. He just listen to the pauses and the silences on his podcast, and you will hear what you don't hear him saying. You will hear what you don't hear him saying. Yeah, especially when it comes to his mother. She was such a lightning rod in this whole thing that her being so key in this jersey retirement and him saying what he said, we're going up there. He really means that because in some ways she was collateral damage in a lot of the stuff that happened because she was so forefront in the middle of it. In some ways, that's the problem with having your mom so involved in your life, Vince. When she's so public, well, she becomes a target. If she's a private person and nobody knows who she is, that doesn't happen. So in some ways, the self-promotion of Michelle Carter gets what she gets, is what I'm saying on this. And some people say, well, family's off limits. Well, she put herself in the middle of it. You know, Charles Oakley's calling her out, then she's fair game, is what I'm going to say right there. That's what I'll say right there. That's right. Yeah, let's keep going in the chat. Let's see what y'all are saying here. Yeah, Kareem saying, I absolutely love the camaraderie on this group. Everybody on the same page. We're building this thing so tight within. I can't wait when we go on that 7-game homestand in December. Yeah, we got to go on the road for the rest of this month. And the road has been a trouble because we haven't even won on the road yet this year. Now, there's 4 games before the end of November the Raptors are about to play. And they're some of them are gettable games. Of course, Cleveland has only lost once to Boston recently. And in some ways, we got some get back. In some ways, we may do way better against Cleveland in their arena on Sunday than we did in our arena on the opening night, partly because we're buoyed with these experiences of this last week and the success and the return of Scotty Barnes. We'll have to see. This Cleveland game is now more up in the air for us to possibly win it than ever right now because things are going so good for us. Now, Detroit, a couple of these other games, New Orleans. New Orleans has a lot of injuries so far this season, and their record is similar to ours. We should beat the Pelicans in New Orleans. And that's a place where we've had trauma in the last couple of years with crazy 30 to 40 point blowouts by the Pelicans of the Raptors when we go to New Orleans. So maybe we'll get some good feelings from that game. Detroit, we owe you one. We shouldn't have let you get us on our home court in IST. And with Scotty back, I think we can beat y'all, especially since I hear Cade's out again. So, yeah, we're going to see. We got to get our first road win in one of these 4 games, at least one of them. If not, let's get half of them and win 2 out of 4. Yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to have to see. And then Homestead in December. Well, the season gets so much easier once the in-season tournament is over for the Raptors. It's like crazy. We got everything hard in our schedule right away, all right now, and our record reflects it. But in some ways, there's going to be parts of the season with we're healthy and we're playing like we did last night. We're going to cruise. We are going to cruise to a lot of W's, and I'm all about that. That's right. Stargate's here. Good to see Stargate. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good win. Kudos to Scotty for getting with the new program. Started out a little shaky, but eventually got it. Refs was on that league mandate, but realized it wasn't working and gave it up. Yeah, they weren't against us. They weren't. Mark Lindsay's a really good ref. I really, really like Mark Lindsay. He's all on the book, man, and he really is trying to do a good job. Jason Goldenberg, like I said, we have the highest win percentage when he's available. We win like 78% of our games if Jason Goldenberg is there. That's why I don't need Scotty yelling at him. Don't yell at Goldenberg. Goldenberg is nice to us. Goldenberg is maybe one of the most fair refs to us in this entire league. Mark Lindsay also. So I knew the ref crew was going to be good to us last night. Home court, city edition jersey, Scotty's return. Yeah, in some ways, ref report undefeated. I called this yesterday. The refs are going to actually look out for us. And the fact that they gave us so many free throws last night in the second half showed it. Yeah, there wasn't any league mandated stuff against the Raptors last night. No, they called it down the line. And they did it right. They had to go and look at a couple things, and Jack was getting all pissy and saying, why do they have to take so long? Why don't they just look at it and get it done in 30 seconds? Jack, just chill, man. Let Mark Lindsay cook. I like to see him go over there and do it. In some ways, Mark Lindsay didn't even tell the challenge outcome on one play because honestly, it was the call he made. He was like, I'm not even going to bother getting on the mic to tell them this because honestly, it's just a call I made. It's challenge denied by the Minnesota Timberwolves and Chris Finch. They were wrong. That was out on them. They tried to change it. It was Gobert and Mobo off the ball, and it was off Gobert. It looked like it was off Mobo, but it wasn't. And the challenge was denied, and he didn't even bother getting on the mic. And Matt Devlin's like, I don't know what happened. He didn't tell us on the mic. I don't know what happened. He's like freaking out, short-circuiting. Mac Devlin is like, I don't know what happened because Mark Lindsay didn't bother to get on the mic. Maybe he was trying to help Jack out with making the break in the challenge shorter. So he's like, I don't have to walk over here and talk. And like somebody's like, we like hearing you talk, Mark Lindsay. Well, he did come back around and he did talk, and then he flubbed it. He was all over it. He's like, I'm Mark Lindsay, man. Come on, get your delivery right on the microphone. But yeah, the calls were great. Honestly, I had no problem with what the refs did last night. There was very fair and balanced calls last night, and the free throws attempted by both teams indicate this. They really, really do. Let's do the team stats real quick. We'll go ahead and look at that part of the box score last night. 51% from the field last night for the Raptors. That is against the tall, imposing Rudy Gobert and that great defensive team on the other side. I mean, Jalen McDaniels is a very tall person, right? Jaden, I'm saying it wrong. It's Jaden, right? I don't even remember. The good McDaniels. He's a very tall, long-armed person. And Naz Reid has got very long arms. And that shooting 51% against the Timberwolves is an accomplishment in itself. It really is, because they worked hard with cuts and all kinds of strategies with our offense to cultivate good shots that would get you that 51%. I'm telling you, they shot 41%. They were off. Dante DiVincenzo taking open threes and missing them. And in some ways they were not on with their shot. In some ways, the Raptors caught the Minnesota Timberwolves off with their shot, and that we capitalized and made sure we won. That's important. If another team's not going to shoot well, we need to beat them. It's the problem is some of these games we played against teams they haven't shot well, like Milwaukee and Detroit in the in-season tournament, and they beat us still because we didn't have enough to overcome them overall, even though they shot horribly as teams. Three-pointers, we only got 7 and shot 30%. They got 12, 34%. And yeah, we took 12 less three-pointers than them. That's normal. We don't need to be an overly shooting three-point team. We're a defensive team. We stymie teams. We hurt them from scoring, and we get in transition, and we rebound. We can beat teams this way. We don't have to be one of these premium three-point shooting teams like everybody else. We got 39 free throw attempts. They got 33. And Darko was talking about this last night. In some ways, the microscope that's on the Raptors defense right now is their hands and how they're fouling people. And Darko's really paying attention to this, giving too many free throw attempts to other teams because we're fouling people too much. Well, he's very pleased in the decrease of free throw attempts by the Timberwolves last night. And he made a joke about it. 33 is better than 43 is what he said. And that's true. In some ways, the Raptors are a work in progress as a young team to learn how to play defense without fouling so much. And they're getting better. They're getting better game to game. Free throws, we shot 74%. They shot 82%. So, and we did make 2 more free throws than them, but I missed 10 free throws. But you know what? Honestly, the free throws were not a problem. If they shoot around 75 and up, I'll be happy. And they were just underneath 75. We out-rebounded Gobert and their long-ass team 43-40. That's a testament to hard work and getting to the spots and boxing out. Assists, 22 assists for the Raptors. That's low. That's on the low end. Our stocks, 12, and they had 17. So they were getting a little bit more blocks and steals than us. We had the same amount of turnovers. In some ways, the turnovers were a little bit high at 17, but you know what? We'll take it. In some ways, we weren't turning it over in really careless ways and 2 awful passes as much as we have been in recent games. A lot of the passes were very crisp and meeting each other. As Jack said, we got to stop throwing these long passes with long-arm teams we're playing against because they get in the passing lane, they steal them. And there was a little bit of that last night, but not as much as in recent games. There was a lot more picking off passes in the games before this one. 22 fast break points. You got to love it. We started the game with a fast break right off the bat. Hello, Scotty's back. Let's get in transition and show him a little showtime. And Grady Dick's getting a bounce pass in the lane. He's laying it up to open up the game with an easy score right off the bat. It was like not even a real fast court. It wasn't even a real fast break opportunity. It was off the jump ball. And they didn't have that far to run. And they were kind of back on transition. And we still made a transition play right off the bat because of Scotty's superior passing talent and Grady's superior catching finish talent. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. 56 points in the paint for the Raptors against 40 for the other team. Yeah, very awesome game. Also, this is a fourth quarter game where it was close, and we're playing against a high-level team that's been in the playoffs the last couple of years that has experience, and we held them off, and we did the right things. RJ carried, of course, in a lot of different ways late in the game to get to the line and make sure we were getting scoring opportunities to stay above them. But the margin was not super high. It wasn't the double-digit cushion that I'm more comfortable with. And the fact that they were battling with them so late and held them off and made sure we got the win in the end only by 5 points is showing real growth in this young nucleus that the Toronto Raptors have right now. In some ways, you guys keep joking about this is a 1-year rebuild. Well, was this a 1-month rebuild? Let's not overreact. There was successful last night, and there's been close games that we've been failures in this season so far, but they were successful last night in a close game against a top playoff team. And that's a very good sign right there. I love that. I love that so much. Mike's saying the Fire Darko people are quiet today, and damn sure should be. Damn sure should be. Redemption is a beautiful thing, Mike. Project Truth. And yeah, they should be. Because that, man, I'm telling you, the rotations that Darko did last night were phenomenal. There was no real downswing in the productivity and the energy of our team on defense. They kept a very solid, fresh, coming at you and making everything hard for the Timberwolves. And it's evidenced in their field goal percentage and the fact that they got their ass beat last night. Yeah, the rotations were sublime. They were awesome. And a really, really good job integrating Scotty back with a minutes restriction and picking his spots when he put him out there. I wasn't even totally sure they were going to play Scott in the last couple of minutes of the game, but of course they did. You want to win, put your best player on the court. And yeah, he did. They put him back out because he really was on a leash last night. And I'm sure at times Scott was a little frustrated. He's like, man, I hate minutes restrictions. In fact, at the end of the game, he said, I don't feel tired at all. I'm like, I could have gone way more. And it's like, this wasn't the problem last night. Well, in some ways, we're easing you back in. And in some ways, the minutes restriction was helpful. I feel like we got better quality out of you in shorter bursts than longer bursts where you kind of just, you know what I'm talking about with Scott. Sometimes he can turn into a glue guy where he's doing all the like unsung things, but he's not really collecting points for himself. He's not looking for himself. Well, you give him limited time out there, he's a little bit more aggressive in trying to call his own number. And that's something I kind of liked about a side effect of the minutes restriction last night. There's a little bit more efficient and quality over the shorter period of minutes. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Friday. Hang on, I jumped ahead. Let me make sure I get back to the right spot. And wow, good to see so many different names in the chat today. We're going to get everybody. We're going to get all the comments in. Don't worry. I will say it. She's saying that, hang on, where did that comment go? Good morning, fam, and happy Friday. That game was so entertaining to watch. Lucky you, Monique. Yeah, Mo's been steady and steadfast, dutiful, always there for the team kind of person, and she gets the benefits and the rewards for it. That she's going to show up, even if the team's in a bad record place. Well, she's going to get the feeling when they get that good stuff. And Jimmy Pope saying, we back, baby. We back, baby. That's right, Pope positivity. That's right. Bring that positivity back and say, we back, baby. Yeah, Scotty's back. That's what I like to see. Carlos saying, oh, boy, it feels, oh, boy, Santino, oh, boy. It feels good to win. Happy Friday, Lex, most gracious freaks. Happy Friday to you, Kaloy. Always good to see you in the chat with us. Monique saying, I will be at that homestead, Kareem. Yeah, she's going to be going to all those games. We need her there because her energy and her vibe is bringing it for us. In some ways, I don't live as close to the arena. Sometimes I really do think about energy. When the Raptors won the championship, I lived in Kensington Market. And I was the closest I ever lived to the Air Canada Center / Scotiabank Arena. In some ways, I do energy work. I really do. I do mental energy work towards that building to try and help the Raptors win. It's something I've done for decades. It's a long, long time. Since I've worked there in 1999, I've done it there. And in some ways, I'll do rituals, really weird, goofy shit. Like I have to ride my bike around the arena a couple times before every season, stuff like that. But now I've moved all the way out in the country. Am I sending the energy still all the way out here? Well, Monique's bringing it for me. And I appreciate her for that. I really do. Jimmy's got that Scotty with the spray can. Okay. Put some graffiti up, Scott. Those crazy ass threes. Man, he's really confident with those threes. The way he steps into them and it's just all swish. Man, he's nasty, dude. Scotty's going to be so good. Darko is not lying when he says this guy's going to be a face of the league. He needs to start his own version of Vinsanity. He's got to get this whole league wrapped around his finger like Vince Carter did a long time ago because he can. He can. He's a popular kind of player. In some ways, he could do stuff on that court that'll make people go, wow, just like Vince used to. And he can get global popularity. And so one of the worries of the league about this with Scott is that he'll become a huge superstar like Vince did at that time. You know, I'd love to see Scott lead the all-star votes. Yeah, because he's just like that. It could happen. It's just he's got busted open and show just how badass he is overall. And all of a sudden, you get like a Michael Jordan, Vince Carter stardom. Scotty, it's in your reach. You can do it. You just got to clean up and play like Kobe and Michael would. And all of a sudden, you start winning and you start making highlight reels. Yeah, you could have a Carter effect yourself, the Barnes effect. And I'm totally here for it. You want to be the most popular player in the NBA, Scotty? You can do it. I know you can. And I want to see you do it. I want to see you do it. That's right. I want to see that, man. I want to see that. That's right. Cool Cat Scott. Good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Celebration W all around. Kudos. That's right. Isn't it nice to come into a stream on the Raptor Freak stream after our W? It's so nice. I love it. I love it so much. Fiercely saying, just glad we won despite Randall going to the free throw line 60 times. Did he go that much? Really? I didn't have any problem with that. Randall's that kind of player. In some ways, if they're going to treat RJ a certain way, they got to treat Randall a certain way too.
because they're similar kind of player. Left-handed guys that go to the basket and get contact. And I have no problem with that. Randall, 23 points. He was 12 of 16 at the free throw line. 5 of 12 from the field, though. And that shows that people like Mobo and Scotty were bugging the hell out of him. He shot 5 for 12. I mean, I love that. Their shooting was really not that good. I mean, Anthony Edwards, 9 of 20. Dante, 4 of 12. Naz Reid, 1 of 8. Nickel, 1 of 6. Yeah, we really bothered them with their shots, and they did not make them. And that was awesome. I love that. We were really all over them. The work of the team on defense and looking out for each other is so awesome because they're running every which way and they're not giving up. That's something that our team wins on, is not giving up and putting that energy in as strong as they can. Excuse me. Let's see. Monique saying thank you to Fiercey. And Jimmy saying free throw attempts were annoying early in the game. Weak fouls. I know, but the weird thing was we were still winning. They were totally being bailed out and carried at the free throw line early in the game. But we were shooting so well and getting after it so well that we still had a slight lead. And that was awesome. In some ways, I was saying, yeah, they are kind of helping them right now. But they switched around. They helped us in the second half. So you can't be mad at those refs. You really can't. Mark Lindsay did a good job. He really, really did. Carlos saying Coach Darko is a genius. Having this young team, this organized, not even mid-season with most vets injured. I think it's partly a testament to our early preseason work. You know, going to Malaga, going to Miami, the amount of work that our guys put in together in the offseason is really paying off. And you could probably say teams like Milwaukee and Philadelphia, this is part of their problem. They never got together before the season. They didn't get ahead of the curve because we knew our schedule was going to be this tough. Darko saw it. He's like, man, we got to get our shit together early because we're going to get blown out by teams if we don't. And I think that is part of the reason why our team has been competitive even in losing, because we took an early start to our preseason and our training camp. And the dedication of all our guys to want to go to Spain and do this stuff with each other is really paying off at this point. I think that's a huge part of it right there. You're saying that we're this way and it's not even mid-season? Well, in some ways, we've been working together it's already like mid-season because they've been working since July together. I mean, that's part of it right there. I really do believe that. And in some ways, that's just going to set the tone for the future. These guys have great lives. You know, some ways they sad about the offseason being so long. No, Sky's not like that. The offseason is too long for him. He wants it to be shorter. He doesn't want to have such a long break. Some of the other guys I want longer time off. It's like the season's coming up. I don't want to start. Scotty wants it to start immediately. He hates being off for so long. And that's part of it right there, is that the Raptors may be doing more in the offseason in the future because of the success they're having this year, because of what they did this summer. It's really, really smart. Yeah, I think Darko's a genius also. I'll agree with this. Brian's here. Good to see King. Dap, to the point, is in the house. What's up, Freak Nation? Glad to see Scotty back. What a difference. Despite the turnovers and early fouls, the Raps fought hard as F. Yeah, I'm really proud of them. And once again, the thing I'm most proud of is that they are a team, a bona fide, true team to the definition. And that is the thing that is what is going to carry them to wins right there. Jimmy saying that alley-oop from Grady to RJ was awesome. I haven't heard the arena that loud in a minute. It was something else. Everybody went crazy. It was astounding. And it was just kind of like so casual. I didn't expect it, right? That was part of it. It just came so quick. Like I said, they were going full tilt. There wasn't any real check-in. As soon as Grady got the ball, he just sprinted, dribbling up the court, and RJ was sprinting after him. And there was a leap of faith. That's what I call it. RJ's leap of faith. The leap of faith that Grady would actually throw it for him, and that he would run out and get it. And that's just, that's the thing I'm loving about this team, is they're not lazy. Even if it seems like Oshai is going to get a layup in transition, Chris Boucher is running after him to clean it up if he doesn't make it. We've seen how many times where a guy doesn't make the layup or make a shot, and all of a sudden Jakob's putting it back in. That stuff is awesome because you got each other's back. There was a play where RJ missed, but Yak cleaned it up and put it back in last night. And that is so awesome. I love that these guys aren't lazy. One guy's going to run down and going to just expect him to dunk it and make it. No, somebody's coming down there to make sure, to make sure that basket's going in, whether it's Chris, whether it's Jakob sprinting down the court, whether it's any of them, Mobo, Boucher. Yeah, any of them. Any of them doing that kind of stuff. That's so fun, man. That's so fun. Nako saying, fun fact, RJ Barrett is having a better season than the Orlando Magic's Franz Wagner. Yeah, I'm not understanding why they don't want to talk about this man. It's like he lives on the dark side of the moon at this point. Is it because he went home? Is it because he's strictly Canadian content, a Canadian-made player on a Canadian team, doing it for Canada, and then USA, NBA regular, NBA, not NBA Canada, doesn't want to cover him anymore? Is it just because he's gone from New York and we're going to show him, oh, in New York, you get all the bright lights. You get to see people like the guy from Game of Thrones in the crowd. But you're in Toronto now. You might as well live on the other side of the moon, RJ Barrett. Is this some sort of weird punishment? In some ways, this is the funny thing. RJ's personality don't give a shit about any of this. He knows he's going to get his anyway. He'll get his acclaim. He'll get his stats. And he'll get his just desserts in the end, even if the NBA media in the United States wants to cast him out and not even pay attention to him ever again. ESPN calling out our three core to coming up as Grady, Scotty, and Emmanuel, and leaving RJ out is just pure haterism. It is. It's pure haterism. Y'all are hating on the fact that the beautiful marriage of RJ Barrett being a Raptor all of a sudden again is working out so well that y'all are haters down in the States, that you don't want to cover him at this point. Well, so RJ is going to have to just get those highlights, and he'll make you cover him. And getting our alley-oop off of Grady Dick's pass last night is one way of doing it. Yeah, you don't think that's going to be on the NBA top 10 tomorrow? Today? Yeah, he's going to be on the top 10 today. It should be number 1 possibly even. Trevor, you tell me what happens with the NBA top 10 from last night, and you tell me where that one places. It'll better be on that. If it isn't, then I'm going to say, yeah, they're disregarding, and they're going to act like RJ Barrett's blacklisted from this league media-wise on the state side, because that's what it's looking like so far since he came here. He's conveniently forgotten on ESPN left and right. Left and right. No, we don't care. We don't care. RJ's going to keep fighting and working, and he's going to get his accolades. That's what's going to happen. Kareem saying, Lex, what do you think? When all healthy, do you think we should put Grady with the second unit so he can continue to be a volume shooter? I feel like Oshai is perfect as a starter in the corner and defense. You know what? I think that it's variable. I don't think we should have anything set for sure. I found it so interesting that Darko did not want to bench Oshai last night, instead benched Davion. I found that so interesting. I think that in some ways, you know, once you got IQ back, you got barbecue, and those guys are starting along with the yak. But once again, you can barbecue that yak with different flavoring. You can put that Oshai sauce on there if you need a little bit more defensive punch. You need a little bit more a premium defender because there's an offensive weapon on the other side that needs to be keyed on. But if you don't need that on that time, maybe you get that yak dick all barbecued up and marinate that dick and put it on there, and you get that little more offensive end of the spacing and the three-point shooting of Grady Dick and the hustle. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You just got to figure out what you want to barbecue with your yak and what that fifth ingredient is in the starting lineup on that given night. Maybe you have an off night and you put the off night barbecue dick out there with Davion Mitchell as the fifth starter. I mean, there's options. And then I say beyond the barbecue yak, the fifth spot is open. It's not just Grady's given every night. And I think that your idea about Oshai starting sometimes makes sense because of possible offensive threats on the other side that were lining up against that night. Yeah. I love the battle dick formation. Yeah, I've talked about battle dick formation. You know what that means. You know what it means. Just listen to what I'm saying. Battle dick formation is when we have those two guys out there at the same time. And we've seen it pretty regularly in games recently. There's always a little period near the end of the first or in the second where we see Jamison and Grady on the floor together. And I feel like there's a lot to be gleaned from that kind of situation, the battle dick formation. In some ways, I want to see these guys rain threes down on them like rain coming down. Red rain, Peter Gabriel. That's right. Red Raptor rain. Red rain coming down on you from battle dick formation. Phrasing, Lex. Phrasing. That's right. Yeah. Kenny saying Scotty made RJ 30 points look easy. You know, listen, RJ was doing it without Scotty out there, so don't get it twisted. 39 points in the game before, a Canadian record for the Raptors. But yeah, he makes it look easier. He helps a lot. In some ways, that's what RJ said. Yeah, man, having Scotty out there makes it so easy. is what he said. Literally, he said that having Scotty back makes it so easy, and it's true. There really is a lot of complementariness between Barrett and Barnes. That their games are very interlocking, and like I said, this is why I got to tell Scotty lovers, let Scotty be, because like you know what it is when you have I'll use this analogy. You have a plug, you plug it into the socket, right? Well, they're two different parts, and one part has one or the other. Well, Scotty in some ways is the plug, and he's plugging into his socket. And let's not get all weird with the anyway. But I'm just saying, Scotty's a passer, and RJ's a finisher. And in some ways, that's the natural relationship between the two of them that should be happening on there. Now, don't get it twisted. They can flip roles at any time where RJ's backing down and he sees Scott on the outside and he's flipping the ball out for Scotty to get an open three. But the most natural environment action is Scotty to Barrett, Barnes to Barrett. And you can't go wrong with that because Barrett is such a good finisher and Scotty's such a good passer. In some ways, that's the fertile land that we want to cultivate our crops on, is that action right there. So some people may be like, I want Scotty to score the most points on the team. But in some ways, we don't want that goal in some ways because it's not actually the most natural thing to happen. In some ways, RJ is just such a supreme scorer. We would be dumb to not let him be the go-to guy because he's money. He's like printing money. He's like a counterfeit bill machine. You're printing easy money with RJ when he's going at the basket with his layups and getting the free throw line. He's getting points for us in situations. In some ways, Scotty, he could do that kind of stuff, but he's not as savvy as RJ is in his career already, as far as drawing fouls and getting getting baskets no matter what. In some ways, we've seen Scott get the ball in crunch situations and maybe a turnover. Maybe it's a non-call and he's getting fouled, but he's not getting the call. And then he's getting upset. And when he's not getting back, and then they're getting a three in transition coming the other way. So in some ways, it's just that RJ has more experience doing this kind of certain stuff from his years in New York and to the point where he's at now with Toronto. That Scotty could get more like RJ. And in some ways, he needs to learn some of the RJ stuff and be just like him, and he can. But I just feel more comfortable with it being Barnes to Barrett. Does that make sense? And I know Scotty fans will be like, man, Scotty needs to be the leading scorer, but he can be some nights, and he will be, trust me. But in some ways, the most natural relationship is the one I've just described. Chris comes saying, let's go. Raptors making money on these predictions is just icing on the cake. Yeah, parlays or whatever you're doing. I don't know, predictions. Yeah, in some ways, Criscom, you are a mentalist. You can see the future. I am seeing the future in some ways. I don't know if we'll beat Cleveland on Sunday, but we have a for sure better shot today than we did a couple days ago. That's for damn sure. That's right. Not just saying Scotty's shooting impressed me, but Grady needs to stay starting. We got the defense we need, the shooting. It depends. I think it depends on the matchup, Gerald. It's not just so cut and dry. And I think Darko has made this very clear that he may not have a totally set starting five. Now, Grady has been so overpoweringly good this season that a lot of people would agree with you to say that Grady just needs to be the starter no matter what. But there is a real strong case to have that defensive look with Ochai Agbaji in the starting lineup otherwise. Once again, Barbecue Yak is a set four that will start when healthy. But when, we'll have to see if it's Yak Dick. Usually, it could very well be that Grady is the normal fifth starter when everybody's healthy. But don't be surprised if he switches Ochai Agbaji in for a second just because of a matchup. That's what I say right there. Yeah. G saying, Scotty saying RJ and I compliment each other. Are fans listening? Apparently, there's some fans asking for RJ to be traded for Scotty. They're making their message loud and clear. Once again, there's a fan base of Scotty fans that aren't actually for our team. In fact, they could very well be Scotty fans first, and they hate the Raptors, and they're trying to fuck us up so that Scotty leaves the Raptors. They want us to have 2004 vibes around him like Vince Carter and for him to be unhappy and leave. And I really do feel like that idiot, he who shall not be named, Robert Pensair, is one of these people, that his long-term goal is to get Scotty to leave Toronto because he never wanted him to be here. And half of his channel is made just to fucking try and make things murky and misinform Raptors fans with crazy-ass tropes about Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Dennis Schroeder, Davion Mitchell. Yeah, whoever the fuck he's decided to go after. And now maybe RJ, because they're saying, like I said, people get mad because RJ is feasting a little bit more off the plate than Scotty is. Well, we're fucking winning. Shut the fuck up, is what I say to these people. And that's what I'm saying. There's chaos agents. There are people that call themselves Scotty fans, but they really don't understand what we're doing that's going to add up to building to wins. They only want what's as much Scotty as possible. That's why I was saying some of the shit I just said in the last 10 minutes about why the natural relationship between Barnes and Barrett is Barnes to Barrett. And in some ways, this is part of how I'm trying to educate them. Yeah, these are idiots. And I would say this right now. These are Scotty fans from the States. They could be FSU fans. They could be people from Florida that don't really like Scotty being so far away from them. And in some ways, they want to usurp him from being on the Raptors. And their way of doing it is being chaos agents and complaining and whining. And if they find other people that really love Scotty, they're trying to mold their minds into thinking that these are the problems. I'll tell you, Scotty fans, right now, Scotty doesn't give a shit about how many shots or how much he scores. He just wants the W. And that's all that matters. And yeah, are they listening? Scotty said it himself. They complement each other so well. So Scotty fans, if you're going to listen to your beloved leader, your most favorite player in the league, listen to what he says and understand what he's saying. I think that's half the fucking problem, is that these Scotty fans that are so crazy about Scotty are not actually listening to Scotty. So listen to Scotty if you are a big fan of Scotty's. And just listen to what he's saying. Seriously. Fiercely saying that alley-oop from Grady to RJ. Woo, fire. Yeah. Infamous saying, salute, freaks. The player that deserves a lot of credit is Off Night. His defense on Ant was very impactful. Yeah, he really bugged the shit out of him. I love what Darko said about Anthony Edwards before the game. The reporters are idiots. Once again, they're just dumb. A lot of dumb questions all over the place. And yeah, Scotty and RJ and Darko kind of rolling their eyes at them with their stupid ass shit. But yeah, he came at him and said, Darko, do you think that Anthony Edwards is like Steph Curry? And he said, no, I don't think he's like Steph Curry. I think he's like Michael Jordan. And Darko revealed that his favorite player of all time is Michael Jordan. He has a lot of respect and he loves the competitiveness of him. And he said that Anthony Edwards is the closest thing he's ever seen to Michael Jordan since Michael Jordan. And I've seen this too. I mean, in some ways, they kind of have some facial resemblance. And in some ways, the play that he plays like is very much like Jordan. In some ways, the way he goes about things and he's so cutthroat is very Jordan-like. But yeah, last night, Davion Mitchell put the stop to Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man, and really stymied him, was all over him, and was annoying the hell out of him. That is why he's such a useful player. There's two things I really like about Mitchell. He is such a dogged defender, like we're talking about right now. And the other thing is he has a pace change to him. That at any given time, if he gets the ball and we're going up the court, he will supersonic that ball up the court really fast. In some ways, because he's pretty good at passing in this supersonic fastness, like Grady to RJ in the alley-oop last night, we're getting really good fast break transition kind of stuff, partly because of the jets on Davion Mitchell with how quickly he can dribble up the court. This is an unsung thing about Mitchell that we need to celebrate and be very happy about. And he who shall not be named, who's dumping on Mitchell right now, well, I'll name those two things as being really fantastic things about him. And that McDaniels trade this summer, looks so good. When you trade a guy that was absolutely useless like McDaniels and you get such a quality backup point guard like Davion Mitchell. And not only that, you got more than just him in that deal. Wow, that front office was cooking with that trade because Davion Mitchell is so useful. And once again, Robert Pensier going to go after anybody who's taking shots away from Scott. Just shut the fuck up, Robert. We're winning. And that's what matters right there. And that's what I say to anybody who's a big Scotty fan. Scotty wants to win. We want to win here. I don't think that Robert and his followers want us to win because they want Scotty to leave. They want him to be unhappy. So when we do have success, when we do have great connection between RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes, they're like Snidely Whiplash in the corners. Foiled again. They're like that right now because their deepest, darkest wishes have nothing to do with the Raptors being successful. They just want Scotty on another NBA team. I'm going to tell you that right now. Anybody who loves Scotty Barnes, watch the Raptor Freak channel. I'll tell you the damn truth. Scotty knows me, man. I was on Twitch with him for 200, 300 hours and talking to him all the time on Twitch. He's like Raptors freak. Oh, Raptors freak. What do you think? Yeah, listen, I know him better than Robert does. I went to Florida State. I grew up in Florida. I know what it means to be a Florida boy, like Jonathan Mobo and Scotty Barnes. So you want to get into psychology, what Scotty cares about? Well, Lex knows a little bit better than fuckface Pensair. And I'm going to say this once again. Everybody's trying to say these teammates are taking away from Scotty. Just stop. Because Scotty is no unselfish bone in his body. He wants all of his teammates to succeed. And anybody who's out there making content is talking about how Scotty's this and Scotty's that because he's mad at RJ, he's mad at Dennis, he's mad at Fred. They're fucks. And you don't need to be listening to their channels or watching their YouTube or whatever they are on social media. I'm telling you right now, look for the action. When you hear the people starting to deride other Raptors in favor of Scotty, just turn them off, disregard, and walk in the other direction. Because Scotty's the ultimate team player. He's so happy for his team. He loves his team right now, and he is in a good place, much to the chagrin of people like fuckface Pensair. I'll say that. There's my Friday freakout on the Scotty lovers who love Scotty so much that they don't want to see the Raptors succeed. Seriously, there's people out there like this. There's fucking idiots, man. Idiots. That's right. Carlos saying, really curious how this team looks with IQ back. This can be fun. It's just a whole other added dimension. Let's not get it twisted. IQ will call his number, but he's a top-level scorer. And in some ways, I totally trust IQ to shoot the ball at any time when he wants to. But he's going to balance things. And in some ways, he has to show everybody that he's a point guard also. And he has. When he's been healthy, he shows he has that side of him will get assists and get his other teammates involved. And that's the balance he's going to have to try and strike when he gets healthy and comes back in. When he gets added to the dish, he's a very spicy ingredient. And in some ways, we need him to be a good balance between calling his own number and getting his other teammates involved. And he'll be fine. Chris comes saying, proving that with some better health that this team is 500 minimum, just my opinion. Yeah. If we had better health, the schedule sucked. We have 4 wins now. We could have easily had, I was looking at it and figuring it out in my head from the games we've already played. We could have had like 8 or 10 wins by now if we had been fully healthy already this season. There were enough really close games that we just barely lost that if Scotty had been available for those games, we could have double the wins we have right now. Seriously, we could have 8 wins right now if that had been proven. Yeah. Nako's saying ESPN left RJ out of our big 3. RJ is absolutely our second best player. I agree. In some ways, you could make an argument that RJ is our best player right now. The Scotty's been hurt, and in some ways, he needs to come back and give us a body of work that proves that he's the better player than RJ. It's not that it's a competition. And in some ways, we want them to excel together and be the best versions of each other next to each other. But yeah, in some ways, it's totally disrespectful. In some ways, RJ don't care. He don't care. He was in New York before. He took all the disrespect while he's in New York from the press and the fans. And in some ways, being in Toronto is laughing about it. Maybe in some ways, RJ's happy to get a break from the U.S. media and their bullshit. Because it's like now he's on the dark side of the moon. They're not going to pay attention to him. Well, he'll silently do his work. And he will excel and kick ass like he has been. And well, if they decide to start paying attention to him and giving him some shine like he deserves, well, that'll be just desserts. Otherwise, don't talk about him. Don't pay attention to him. Let him work in the dark. And you'll see the fruition of the progress he's made while y'all weren't paying attention to him. That's what I'll say to the U.S. media about RJ Barrett right there. That's right. That is right. Boom goes the dynamite. Yeah, G saying, my hero of the game is Off Night. The way he handled Ant and his passing and selfishness is so valuable. Yes. Selflessness, I think is what you're saying. Yeah. Fantastic stuff by Davion. Didn't hardly score at all. Monique saying, fiercely, that alley-oop, the arena was buzzing. I'll bet that felt good, Monique. Oh, I bet that felt good. Now, guys, we're going to go to a 9:05 game on December the 8th in Mississauga. December the 8th, 2 p.m., Raptors 905 versus Westchester Knicks. And Monique is coming. And Mo, I want to see if we can sit with you because I know it's tougher for us to sit with you at Scotiabank, but maybe the arrangements could be made that the whole Raptor Freak family gets to sit with you, the whole contingency that comes to the game. So I don't know where you get to sit, but I would like to see if we could come and sit in the same area with you so that we can all watch the game right next to each other. So we're going to try and figure this out. Maybe if you talk to Courtney Charles and see if they can make arrangements to have the whole RFF together down near the court or wherever you get to sit, I'd like to sit next to you for this game at 9:05, especially since you're going to be coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. And anybody can come that's watching right now. You don't even have to be a commenter on this channel. You just watch me and you've a long-time listener, never called. Just come on down to Paramount Fine Food Center on December the 8th. It's a Sunday, 2 p.m. We will be down there around 1 p.m. I'll be down there, and we'll be going as a group from this channel. We do meet and greets and hangouts with people from the Raptor Freak family all the time. And this will be our first one this season, going to a 9:05 game. And if this goes well, we'll do another one in January right away if this goes really well and we have a good time. Also, just to remind everybody, there's a food can drive or a toy drive. I'm not sure which one it is. It's some sort of season's givings game that we're going to. So I would highly recommend anybody bringing, I think it's canned goods. I wish they'd tell us what is going on so we could get ready for it and be able to tell what to bring to the game. Are you doing a toy drive or are you doing a food drive? Let us know, 9:05, because the Raptor Freak family would like to come down there and support your cause. How about that? All right, y'all. Let's keep going in the chat. Let's go. Carlos saying off night with the intangibles, plus 20 while being 0 for 4. That's right, intangibles. Sometimes a box score, you can look at how much a guy scores, but I'm telling you, you're not seeing the whole picture. That's right. UC saying RJ averaging 29 at home is amazing. It feels real good to be home, doesn't it, RJ? Feels real good. Smooth saying a top 10 lottery pick, and this team is back 50-plus wins next year. I don't even know if we need that. We just need health and a better schedule. And boy, look out. You need more reps and progression with this crew. I don't even know if we need that top 10 pick. Seriously. I don't think we do. I mean, if we get one and we have another added talented player, that'd be great. But otherwise, I'm not looking for anybody to come save us. We've got a great squad already, and it's young, and it's developing and getting better and better, and the results are there. I mean, we have like Kurthika put this stat out that we have 6 players from last year, 6 players this year that have increased their scoring totals this year. Grady, RJ, Jakob, Davion, Oshai. These guys have all increased their points per game averages this year. And that is a testament to Darko and his development skills. Right there. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Brian saying, Lex, remember I said on the show that the Raps can go 500, and now that we're past a few West teams, we can get the struggling East teams and move up. Yeah, I'm all about this. In some ways, some Raptors fans that are casual may not like the shifting gears of what we're doing. Like they really think we're in a capture the flag moment. Some of them are idiots. They really like the whole idea of capture the flag, and they'll get mad if we start winning too much. They need to stop. We need to do exactly what we're supposed to do. And the team trying to win no matter what is what's important. And if we start winning, don't get mad about this. If we get out of the capture flag sweepstakes, because honestly, that's not where we ever wanted to be in the first place. I was only going to be down there if we're relegating to losing this whole season. Then I'm like, all right, we'll make the best of the situation, and that's capture the flag. But if we start winning and we get out of the cellar of the Eastern Conference and we're in a playoff spot, Raptors fans, shut the fuck up if you're upset about that. And saying, oh, why do we even lose all these games at the beginning of the year if we're going to win now? We're going to hear stupid-ass, uneducated takes like this. Well, why do you think we lost at the beginning of the season? Scotty was hurt, and they gave us the hardest schedule in the NBA. You idiots. If we start winning during the season and everybody gets mad about that because we're messing up our lottery chances, shut the fuck up, whoever says that shit. We need to win and take our place in the Eastern Conference standings rightfully where we're supposed to be. Because we're not the Sixers. We're not pulling punches to try and get a big dummy named Joel Embiid. No, that never worked. And it still doesn't work to this day. Look at this shit show that the Philadelphia 76ers are still. And have they done anything with their tanking process? No, they have not. So we do not need to duplicate what they do and build a losing culture on purpose just to get a guy named Flag. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. So I'll tell Raptors fans, be ready to switch gears. If Scotty returns, IQ returns, and we start winning more and more, don't get confused and be like, well, why are the Raptors winning now? They were supposed to lose this whole season to get a draft pick. You dummy. You idiot. We play basketball to win, motherfucker. And we ain't wasting no goddamn time just to get a draft pick that doesn't mean we're going to get saved by them. There's no guarantees in the draft anymore. And that's how I look at it. That's why I say if we get a top 20 pick, I'll be happy. We get a top 10 pick, yeah, that'd be awesome. We get a top 5 pick, that means we had a shitty season. And it took a long fucking season. It was annoying. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't as fun as it could have been. That's what I say right there. That's right. Even better if it's top 5. Well, if we get top 5 because we naturally lose to that point, then so be it. But I don't really want that. In some ways, I really, really don't. If we get top 10, that's fine. But I'd rather be a winning team that goes in the playoffs and makes some noise and learns from playoff experience than that other stuff. Yeah, I don't know why this blue truck is trolling around behind me here. All right, that guy's going down the way. All right, got to keep tabs on who's in my lane way. Driving in on a private road. It's not a public road, y'all. I'm driving around behind my house here. All right, let's see. Stargate saying Chris had a little blunder with missing a defensive assignment on a play where Darko had to call a timeout and ripped into Chris, but Chris responded and cleared it up accordingly. That was him having not gotten back for the guard. That was my guard story. That there was no guard in the game, and we needed somebody back to stop a transition play, but nobody was back there. And that was that timeout and that thing. In some ways, that's not totally Chris's fault, but I'm glad that he took ownership of it and Darko held him accountable. In some ways, that could have been any of their faults that somebody need to get back. If this particular man, if he had a man and he snuck behind him and got back for a cherry pick, well, yeah, then that was Chris's fault. But yeah, that's good. Darko's able to hold our guys accountable. It's not all warm and fuzzy where he's just everybody's like, oh, Darko, you're so awesome and stuff like that. Darko's like, no, you need to fucking do your job. And I've seen him get stern and kind of bitch out different players at different times in a very justified way. Where it's kind of like, yeah, you did this wrong and you did this wrong. Because everybody thinks Darko's such a nice guy, but he has sides to him. And he can be very stern and he can hold his players accountable while still being their friend. And that's been proven. And I love that. That's not easy to do, to balance that. It's not easy to do. Fiercey saying, just remembered Yak played with the Spurs for a long time. Hence, he was used to match up against Gobert, Utah, and Minnesota. Yeah, lots of experience playing Western centers. And that has been a real benefit of having Jakob around. The centers are better out in the West. And in some ways, dealing with people like Zubac, Anthony Davis, Joker, yeah, he's got that experience with people like Gobert, for sure. Nako saying, him and Ant were all chummy after the game. Scotty shouldn't have done it, but I don't think Ant minds. Dude plays into how cocky he is. Yeah, I don't think that the problem is like Anthony's going to get mad at him. In some ways, it's kind of funny. In some ways, it's like Bo Cruz, Kermit shit. But also at the same time, because like Anthony likes the shit talk. He likes the comeuppance. He likes the back and forth. He wants to compete. And in some ways, you know, it's not that anybody had a problem with it. It's the NBA who has a problem with what Scott did. Because think about Ja Morant. Think about gun culture. And in some ways, like I've always had a problem in some ways with players going pew, 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 like this kind of stuff. Because gun violence is a serious, serious epidemic and problem in America. And in some ways, you know, we don't want to make light of this shit. There's a reason why Pat Benatar will never, ever perform or hit me with their best shot. She will never, ever sing that song again because of school shootings, because of public shootings of synagogues and grocery stores. And in some ways, Scott running around doing blam, blam, blam is insensitive, immature, and not the right message the NBA wants people to see. They didn't even show it on camera. They went off camera so they didn't see it. And everybody's like, whoa, what happened? And they kind of showed it in the highlight, in the replay. And, you know, I was disappointed in him because I honestly, in some ways, I talked to Scott about this a little bit on his Twitch channel, but not really. In some ways, Scott likes certain artists that really glorify ops, gangster kind of bullshit. That's like step outside, I'm gonna cap you kind of shit. Those kind of artists are out these days. In some ways, that kind of energy is not useful in your NBA career. In some ways, you may think you're cool and all this kind of stuff. And you go with Lil Uzi and their little like bullshit, Gunna and all the Choppa and all their kind of motifs of like, I got my ops coming down on the ops. You step outside, I'm a blam, blam, blam. And the, you know, that kind of bullshit, that whole musical genre is useless and is absolutely a part of decaying society. There's no merit to that kind of stupid ass shit. But in some ways, some of the young kids like Scott enjoy it. And in some ways, that is a branch of it, is him doing the blam blam on the street, on the court. And in some ways, there's no place for it in the league. And Jason Goldenberg, as an NBA ref, understands this and understands the rules. Now, the rule that he broke is not that he made a gun gesture. It's that he made a gesture at an individual player. And that's taunting. And that is something they will call a technical for. And that's really why. And the way that he made it like a gun, blam, 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 that's just not classy. And in some ways, it's not the right look, Scott. It really isn't. It's not the right look. Yeah. Let's keep going. Stargate saying Anthony Edwards had an off night. That's for sure. That's right. 44 points is saying, see, there you go. 44 points. Good to see you this morning. Every morning talking Raptors, 9:30 in the morning, reacting, previewing, talking trivia, all kinds of good stuff. Tomorrow we'll have a Saturday Share the Love Club, guys, because we've got 2 days off. Saturday Share the Love. I'm not sure who we'll share the love for. You'll find out later today when I put the stream up. And we'll be coming in on Saturday morning to share the love with a Raptors personality of some sort. We'll have to figure out who it is. I wonder who it is. Who do you guys think should be the Share the Love Club? Maybe we'll do this democratically. Y'all want to put in who you want the Share the Love Club to be for tomorrow? Write it in the chat and I'll see. But write in Share the Love Club, that name, so that I know it's not just a name you wrote in. I'm like, wait, what is this person? Why did they just write this name in? Right? Share the Love Club blank. And maybe I'll choose yours. We'll see. I have somebody in mind that maybe we'll do it, but I'm not totally sure if we'll do it for them. I'm not totally sure. Kareem saying, has anybody realized that when Boucher's number is called, he shits the bed on defense for 2 minutes, then Darko calls a timeout and airs out Chris. Then the following few possessions, Chris drains 2 threes. I don't know if there's any set pattern like this. I think that Chris has done a very good job on defense this year, considering his limitations with his body type. In some ways, he's a savvy defender with his length, if not because he doesn't have a low center of gravity to hold space. And in some ways, he's really been smart at when to grab and kind of just get a hand in the face, if not body someone, because he can't really. So, Chris is deceivingly strong, too, at this point. It used to be that his spaghetti arms were weaker when he first showed up on the Raptors, but he has got really strong arms at this point. And on the down low, he's a lot stronger than he looks. So it's very interesting. I don't think that this is a set pattern for sure, Kareem. I think there's mixed results on different nights on what you're describing there. Smooth saying Minnesota seems shocked that they lost the game. Let that be a lesson. Never underestimate the opponent. I like that. And I'll say that's probably true. They probably were expecting a cream puff. They see a record and all that stuff. Well, you didn't realize that Scotty Barnes was returning. And we did beat the Siakam and the Pacers on Monday. So in some ways, yeah, you walk into this, you're not prepared for us. Well, you caught sleeping. Well, we ain't going to hit the alarms. Snooze. We're not going to let that alarm go off. We're hitting the snooze button. So you keep on sleeping on us. That's right. That's what I'm going to say right there. You keep on sleeping on us. Yeah. Let's see. Infamous saying, Lex, Scotty did that gesture because Ant did the same thing to our team from the last game after he dunked on 2 of our players and never got a tech. It was a revenge factor. I have no problem with it. Okay, I still don't think the gesture has any place in the NBA. Now, from what you're describing, Infamous, I kind of vaguely remember this, but I don't know if Ant did that exact motion. Now, maybe that's why Scott was so vociferously debating the technical, is because, hey, this guy did this to me in the last game, and y'all didn't call it on that. Well, once again, Scott, you're playing in a different arena. You're playing with different refs, and the refs' sensibilities can be different. And in some ways, maybe that ref that night when Anthony did it didn't care because of the situation, or maybe Anthony didn't do it so pronounced. In some ways, Scotty, you did it really emphatically. In some ways, maybe Ant just went and it wasn't really so emphatic. And that may be part of it there. So either way, you can't think that there's justice in the NBA where everything's just going to be called right down the line the same way every night. There's all kinds of variables, human variables of the different refs' personalities. And there's also variables as in the game situation and what's happening at that time in the game. It could very well be that Ant did that at a high pressure situation that was more in the flow of the game and not at the beginning of the game where it was a lot more apparent. I mean, there's all kinds of different things for the reason why this could get called different. I mean, it makes sense. 44 points saying, Dear Ann, is it appropriate to get on the Raptors bandwagon now or should I wait a little bit? Listen, you get on the bandwagon whenever you want. I tell this to people, 44 points. If you love the Raptors, but you can't stand the winning and you need to go away while they're not doing so well, the Raptors Street Channel is here for you no matter what. Just come back and say, hey, we're back and we'll remember you. So I say get on that bandwagon right now. If you want to jump back off of it, that's fine. There's a lot of fans that are fair weather and they're not ready to go through everything ride or die like some of us are. And I understand that. That's just a symptom of Toronto sports fan. They don't go to the Blue Jays games when the Blue Jays are shitty. They leave the Leaf games early when they're in bad shape. It's just how it is. And yeah, the Raptors have looked bad this year. Their record is very bad. But you know what? Get ahead of the curve. Come on in. Get on the bandwagon and ride with us. I'm not going to tell anybody that's joining late that they shouldn't be here. I'm not gatekeeping like that. You love the Raptors. You are a positive Raptors fan, and you want to see the Raptors win more and more. You're in the right place. That's all that matters right there. 44 points, respect. How about that? Carlos saying, suddenly the young Raptors have so many weapons and decent defense. It's not even mid-season yet. I really like our defense. It's really the work and the chemistry and the synergy. This is a team sport. And when the team works as a hive mind all together on the same page, you see the results of what we're seeing right now. And that is, once again, a testament to our fantastic coach who's getting our guys to all for one and one for all believe in each other and trust each other and communicate with each other. This is very, very important. Scotty got out there right away and he was communicating so loud. You could hear him yelling everything, every which way, whether it's at the refs or at his teammates on assignments. And I love that. Scott is a very, very invested leader. In some ways, you can wonder about people like Kawhi Leonard and how much they really give a shit about helping their team, sitting out so much. Scotty sits out and he's coaching and he's involved in the games even when he's not playing. Well, when he is playing, boy, does he really care. And he's a bona fide, true red-blooded Raptor. He loves his team. And as much as fuck faces like I described earlier wish he'd go to the States and play for an American team, he is real one for us. He is a loyal Raptor. And in some ways, this Canada stuff, he don't give a shit about this. He just wants to play basketball for a badass team. And it happens to be in Canada, and he's a loyal guy to it. In some ways, the Raptors show loyalty to Scotty, bringing in his best friend, Jonathan Mobo. They show loyalty to him by building the team around him. They show loyalty to him by giving him a max contract. So Scotty's going to show loyalty back to us. And I have a feeling this dude won't ever be anything like a Carter or a Bosch to the Raptors fans, as much as some American NBA fans wish that would be true. I'll bet you money right there. Roger Raymond saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks. Great game. Good to see you, Roger Raymond, back in there. Yeah, good to see you, my guy. Monique is saying that game time interview with RJ was nice to see. When I got home, got the VC banner, Lex. It's not open. Okay, so she got the VC banner. I'd like to see what it looks like at some point. I'm sure you'll take a picture of it and put it up on your social media, Monique, because I'd like to see what that little mini VC banner they gave to all the people that went to the game last night looks like. They called it the GOAT, the greatest of all time night. And you know what? I'm going to say this, and I wish they had said this more, because in some ways, this is not braggadocio. This is not a false claim. They should have said that last night at the game, because of the logo, because of the City Edition jerseys, that Vince Carter is the greatest of all time dunker. They should have just declared this shit last night. It's inferred, but this is something you can actually say that I believe is true. Dr. J has gone along with this, and so has Michael Jordan, that Vince Carter is the greatest of all time dunker in the history of the NBA. That's what they should have centered the whole motif of greatest of all time GOAT night in the game last night with the Vince Carter logo on there. So go ahead and say it, Raptors culture and Raptors fans and Raptors media. Greatest of all time dunker in the history of the NBA, because that rings true. That rings true. And in some ways, if we want to claim our culture and our 30th anniversary season, claim that title, because Vince Sanity was a phenomenon. And he really is. In some ways, a lot of people will agree with me. Dr. J will say it, and a lot of people say it's Dr. J. Michael Jordan will say it, and a lot of people say it's Michael Jordan. It's Vince Carter. Is you going to put out the GOAT acronym and say GOAT, greatest of all time, dunker. Finish it. Say the last part, because we should be proud of that, because it's damn truth. I think a lot of NBA fans, casual, across the league, would tell you that they think Vince Carter is the greatest dunker of all time in the history of the NBA. So why not finish that statement? NBA and Raptors, go ahead and say greatest of all time dunker, Vince Carter, because it's the damn truth. I may not like Vince, but I will say that that is true. Vince Carter is the greatest dunker in the history of the NBA. That's just the damn truth. That's it right there. Nako's saying Darko pretty much revived Davion and RJ's career. Yeah, I don't think RJ's career was that in trouble. In some ways, he made it fresh, and he's given him a new opportunity to excel and grow in a higher level, a higher ceiling than the Knicks did with Thibodeau. Davion, definitely what you're saying right here. They have revived Davion Mitchell's career, and he's so grateful. I mean, he's gotten to start a lot of games this season, and he's really is a part of our rotation and a very crucial guy. So he's got to be feeling good, because there were a lot of times in recent years with the Sacramento Kings that he was DMPing and just not even a part of the regular rotation. So he's got to feel really fulfilling for Mitchell himself as an individual, for sure. Randolph saying, good morning, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Blessings.
You are fighting an enemy you do not choose in a war that you did not start. Fight through your survival and victory is uncertain. Wow, that's deep and heavy stuff. The struggle of life is a struggle different for every single person out there, and the cards they're dealt and what they have to deal with every day. I wish every person out there that is going up against something that's difficult or hard, the strength, the wisdom, and the ability to get through it, to see a brighter sky and a better day and overcome whatever is against you. I give you that blessing, that prayer right in this moment, right now. And thank you, Randolph, for your words of wisdoms. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. And Leo Routins is saying, light tomorrow with today. There you go. Light it up. We ain't got no beam, but let's light up the Air Canada Center, Scotiabank Arena with a great, fantastic victory. And tomorrow, hopefully, we'll continue the streak and keep going. We win the next game. That's dinner with Darko, right? We got to beat Cleveland in Cleveland, and we get dinner with Darko. I wonder if they're doing that on the download, just not telling anybody. It's no pizza party. It's steaks. It's big time, expensive steaks is what the dinner with Darko was. It was never a fucking pizza party, you fucking jackasses who made fun of us last year over the Darko pizza party bullshit. This ain't no corporation that's giving pizza to people instead of a raise. No, this is a Darko dinner, baby, and it's a steak dinner. That's what I say to y'all right now about that. That's right. It's a steak dinner. It's not no pizza party. We got to get this win. That's right. Thank you, Randolph, once again. Mike saying, who's John, was my reaction. Laugh out loud. Who's John? Yeah. Mike heard that after interview with Scotty, and he said, John. I was like, he just did that. Well, he's Scott, and that's John. Of course, this is what he called him on Twitch every time, Mike. This is why we knew who John was before John got drafted by the Raptors, because John was playing 2K with Scotty on his Twitch streams in his rookie year. You say, John, what are you doing out there? What's going on down in Florida right now, John? I got to come down and see you. Scott, you going to come down and see us down in Florida, John? I will come down there, John. Okay, Scott and John. That's right. That's when they know each other. It's Scott and John, Yeah, that's why I call Scott sometimes Scott. And people say, whoa, Scott, you know Scott like that? Well, that's what we call him on the stream, Scott. Hey, Scott, what's going on? Lloyd calls him Scott. John calls him Scott. So Scott and John and Scott. That's just how it is. It's just the short names. It's a familiar name for that. Yeah, it's familiar. That's right. It's the familiar. Blackhawks saying we are getting back to our old ways of being a difficult team to play in Toronto. The next milestone for us will be to win road games. But defending home is a top priority. Yeah, it was fun. It's fun. Good for the team. We get a little bit of better ref calls in Toronto. That's for damn sure. And we'll have to see. Cleveland's going to be an interesting test. I'll have the riff report, the latest lineup news. We'll see who our ref crew is for Sunday's game against the Cavs and see if we can extend this win streak to 3 because, man, it's going to be tough. They have not lost a lot, but there is always kind of a balancing out. Cleveland's been on a crazy hot streak to start the season. Kenny Atkinson, a very, very big home run for them as the coach. And they're playing in a certain way that's really, really good. Well, we got tape of us playing against them on opening night. And hopefully Darko has a new game plan for how to counteract. And also, we don't know what's going on with them as far as injuries. I'll have all that information for everybody on Sunday morning at 9:30 to set you up for that game. That's right. That's what I'll say right there about that. Nameless is saying, I'm not sure what possessed Anthony Edwards to try and get in front of Pirtle's jam. Yeah, I mean, that play, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's pretty good. Nameless is also saying, please refer to RJ with his full title, the Maple Mamba. Yeah, I don't mind that nickname. Maple Mamba is a very apropos name for him. There is very Kobe-esque kind of stuff to RJ's game, for sure. That mentality, that competitor is very similar to Brian. Very, very similar. Mike's saying, I looked into the meaning of alternative NBA governor. It means part owner, like small percent owner. Larry and MLSC are NBA governors at the moment. Governor means owner in the NBA. Yeah, the governor, Masai is like the acting governor for us at this point, which is weird. In some ways, that kind of harkens to that he's involved in the ownership group also, as well as being the team president. I don't know. There's some shifting around with this kind of stuff. Larry Tannenbaum, his future is dubious with being in the ownership group of the Raptors. And, we'll have to see what happens. In some ways, hopefully Keith Pelly and people will allow Ujiri and Webster to do their job correctly and continue to build this team up with Coach Darko. That's what we're hoping and praying for. That's for sure. Yeah. Kareem saying new nickname for RJ should be RJ Beretta. RJ Beretta. Now, I told you about this gun motif right here. Come on now, Kareem. Jimmy saying Desmond Bain did the same taunt Scotty did and got no tech. Not saying I condone it, but the league is hella inconsistent. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing all these taunts in different places, so I can't really compare them. It could very well be the emphaticness of it. Like it maybe this guy, maybe those guys were not frowning or very intense about it. I don't know. I'm not trying to condone whatever. I don't condone the gun kind of hand signals, whoever's doing them. I don't give a shit if it's Desmond Bain, if it's Anthony Edwards, if it's Scotty. Nobody should be doing this kind of shit in the NBA. It's just very like not sensitive to real issues in the real world. Like I said, Pat Benatar will not sing her top 10 hit me with your best shot live ever again because she's showing respect to families that are victims of gun violence. And in some ways, Austin Reeves saying, I don't want to be called AR-15 like a gun anymore. They tried to respect that, even though his initials are AR and he wears 15 and he's a sharpshooter. Well, this is the same kind of thing. In some ways, we should not be celebrating gun culture. We should not be celebrating that motion because it tears lives apart. And it's a really, really insidious part of U.S. culture right now. So that's part of it. In some ways, the NBA doesn't want this kind of bullshit. You know, seriously, the Ja Morant saga is very, very much the example of this. Is he wants to be a little wannabe gangster and run around with guns and do stuff like that. It's not looking good for the NBA. They don't want that kind of stuff. David Stern really didn't want any NBA players associated with guns in any kind of way. When Jason Williams shot his limo driver by accident, that was a huge headache for the NBA in a social kind of way, just like the Mouse in the Palace. They don't want violence around the league. Control violence, maybe a little bit of Draymond's out of pocket stuff, okay. But they don't want gun violence and they don't want fans getting punched in the stands. So there's certain levels of limits in the rules. And yeah, maybe they're not doling out the text fairly and taunts or game mannerisms of getting a shot. But also at the same time, let's read the room, NBA players, and understand gun violence is an epidemic and y'all don't need to be perpetuating it with hand motions on the court. In some ways, I have no problem with him getting the tech because in some ways, we don't have a place for this in the NBA, is what I'm saying. Shir Khan saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Last night was fantastic. Wow, beating a top-tier team is a good look for the Raptors. Scotty is most definitely a level up in a talent and already a talented bunch. True North talent. Yeah, Scotty's fantastic. And in some ways, the time away from the court is making him think more cerebrally about the game and diagnosing it from that perspective. And you can see it from the outside, you learn more. And once you're back in the inside, well, you see maybe some progress in decision making in the split second because he's understanding a little bit more of the whole picture, being outside of it for a little while. I think that's one of the biggest things that's a blessing about Scott's injuries is that in some ways he doesn't stop learning just because he's not playing. He's a student of the game. He's taking it in. And while he's sitting on the bench in street clothes, he's listening to Garrett Temple and our coaches, and he's doing all kinds of learning that way, which is really, 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 really awesome. Let's see. Mike saying All-Star J, in my opinion. All-Star J? All-Star J? Who's All-Star J? Jakob? You think Jakob's an All-Star? Is that what you're saying? You got to write out the name, man. J? All-Star J? Jonathan? Wayne saying, freaks, when I see Grady make mistakes, his body language says next play. I can't criticize the guy. Yeah, overall, that was something pointed out by Jack Armstrong and Matt Devlin, is the body language of the Raptors is very on point and confident. Even if they're going into games where they're overmatched, they're playing the Celtics, it doesn't matter. They're carrying themselves like they're confident and they belong there and they're ready to succeed. And that's fantastic. Grady is a great example because Grady, as a young player, just turned 21 this week, could easily get his head down after misses and things not working out for him. There was one play where he went to the basket. He got thrown to the ground by Julius Randle, and they gave him no respect, and they did not call a foul. He hit the ground hard, and this was early in the game. What did he do? He got the fuck up and ran back and tried to close out on a three-point shot at the other end. He didn't just whine or get, oh, poor me, on the floor. No, he got the fuck right back up and got back on defense. And that's the kind of stuff I like in my guy. Some ways we're not going to get every call. The calls won't be fair. Technical on Scotty, not on Desmond Bain.
Well, in some ways, don't matter. Keep playing hard and going at it, and you will make good things happen because of your ability and you kept going. It's when you stop, you get downtrodden, you get jaded, you get pessimistic, you get upset because it's unfair. Then things start to go bad. But if you just keep plotting and plugging away, you will get through the shitstorm of bullshit that is unfair and you'll still win. That's what we got to do, y'all. That's what we got to do. The refs aren't an excuse. We got to take their bad calls and all their unfairness and overwhelm it and beat it anyway, is what I'm going to say right there. Yeah. Carlos saying there are so many weapons for the complete starting five. Yak's barbecue dick is going to be a defensive problem for the rest of the league. They don't know where it's coming from. That's part of it is that we have very different weapons that are come in that starting lineup, and IQ's back. That's a whole other level of coaches having to get ready for the Raptors in like a headache kind of way. Because IQ has that kind of like game to him. Scotty is a whole problem. RJ's a problem and a load. And Jakob, well, how do you deal with that? And then you got Grady lurking around and stuff. Yeah, this is fantastic problems to have for the Raptors. Serious problems for the rest of the league. Mike saying Larry T has been the chairman of the board of the governors since 2017. Yeah, he's also been like the regent guy for more longer than that. He's been like the main owner leader since like the early 2000s, I think. So it's been longer than that. Carlos saying the only problem I see is can IQ replicate that defense from Davion at the point of attack? Well, he's learning from him. This is one of the great things about our guys getting to practice against each other is that in some ways IQ can rob off on Mitchell in offensive ways, in some ways, maybe learn some tricks, and vice versa. In some ways, these guys are making IQ a better defender, Jamal Shed and Davion Mitchell, because they're trading tricks of the trade. And you're right. In some ways, maybe it is that IQ is not going to give that same intensity that Mitchell gave last night, but that may be the nice dichotomy, the change of switching quickly for Mitchell. As far as like, okay, you got IQ guarding you right now, and he may be focused on passing and shooting himself and not as heavy on the defensive side. But boy, we'll take him out and we'll put Mitchell on you all of a sudden and sick him on you all of a sudden. And then, its intensity is just ramped up. So that could be a good thing, even if IQ is not at the same level defensively as Mitchell, is what I would say about that right there. Yeah. Mike saying we could play a lineup of Mitchell, IQ, RJ, Scotty, Yak for guards like Edwards, then sub in Grady when we face lesser guards. Yeah, they're hiding Grady with certain opponents with his assignments, and he's doing a good job. In some ways, Grady's just got to keep up with them and keep a hand in their face. Sometimes he can get in a mismatch where he's going to get overpowered and it's trouble. Like if they switch Naz Reid to him on the post, yeah, he's going to need help. If it's Julius Randle, yeah, he's going to need help. If it's Rudy Gobert, yeah, he's going to need help. And in some ways, they hide Grady on the defensive end smartly with who they have him guarding. And often, he's getting good matchups. Like he'll be shadowing DiVincenzo. He was shadowing Furphy the other day. These are good matchups for him to kind of run around with guys that are kind of similar body types and player types to him. 3-point specialists on the other side is who Grady's probably going to be guarding more often than not. So that's good. That's good. G saying, I thought the Wolves won the trade. I think I was wrong. Randall was being a ball hog. Both Ant and Randall playing iso ball. Their offense looks so stagnant. A big part of that is Mike Conley being out. Mike Conley's the one who distributes and gets them more organized with their offense, and their offense looks bad with him out. I think this was the mistake that they made and why they lost the game, is that Chris Finch thought the Raptors with their record was a night that they could rest their very old guard and not have to use him because they are trying to load manage Mike Conley. And then in some ways they saw the Raptors record and they were like, okay, we could probably get away with putting Conley out. But no, that was a fatal mistake because in some ways our defense stymied their offense to the point where they needed their point guards setting each other up to get them more distributed in the right way. Now, let's not get it twisted. Minnesota Timberwolves with Mike Conley playing is a much better team. And that was, their dumb fault for not playing him last night and resting him in a load management game against the Raptors. Well, you get an L. That's what you get. That's what you get. That's right. Randall will expire before Cat. I think that in some ways that trade, originally it looked like it was a win-win for both sides. But the more I think about it, the more I think that it is actually a win for the Timberwolves still. And the Knicks side of it is not good. Because, you got people like Milbester
Knicks fan, telling us he doesn't want to watch the Knicks anymore now that they traded Dante DiVincenzo. In some ways, they traded their heart and soul of their team from last year with those three players, Hartenstein, DiVincenzo, and Randall. Randall, in some ways, was the culture setter for the Knicks in recent years. Now he's gone. And now you got people like Mikal Bridges and Cat that are setting the new energy around the team, and their energy is not the same. And DiVincenzo is such a baller and such a fan favorite. The Knicks fans really miss him right now. So in some ways, I think the benefits and dividends, you may have seen selfish isolation play from Edwards and Randall last night, but I didn't see that necessarily. I saw different guys calling their numbers on different trips down the court, and that these guys are just very premium, top-level NBA talents that can play and beat their opponents in isolation. Maybe it's lazy. Maybe it's not the beautiful Serbian game of Darko's system, but it's still effective for them, and it's way more effective when Conley's out there. So I'm going to disagree with you and say what you're analyzing there. I think that Randall does fit with them, and he's done very well, and so does DiVincenzo. And in some ways, Minnesota won that trade. New York did not. New York did not win that trade. Because I think Minnesota in the long run, by the end of the year, will figure it out, and they'll be better for it. They'll be better for it. Conley out there, you can't really kind of like gauge anything about the Timberwolves offense without Conley healthy and playing. Yeah. Fiercely saying he is not him as Quentin Grimes. That's right. It's Quentin Grimes. So they're playing Killian Hayes today. I don't know why I get Quentin Grimes and Killian Hayes mixed up. Maybe it's because neither one of them is him. Neither one of them is him. Yeah, that's right. Carlos saying, I think Randall and Gobert is not meshing well, plus DiVincenzo coming back to earth after that scorcher last year. Yeah. DiVincenzo was shooting really crazy good last year, and in some ways, he's not as much in Minnesota so far. And I think this is true. I think that the astrologer guy is saying that Gobert is the one sign that doesn't fit with the Timberwolves at this point, that his sign does not fit astrologically with the rest of the Minnesota players, and that in some ways he's the odd man out at this point. It's crazy. They went from Twin Towers experiment. They may be getting rid of Gobert also at some point. Watch. I could see that, man. I could see that. Yeah. Wayne saying Grady is a straight gangster. Both RJ and Jakob should be the spear of our offense, with IQ and Scotty lurking to execute clinically. The return of core players should see our win percentage grow. I completely agree with Wayne, and we've seen that right away last night. Right away. Close game against a top team. Boom. We win it. We win it, and we know how to win it in the end because Scott has returned, and that's fantastic. And RJ doesn't have to carry so much by himself. Kareem saying, there's great graphics on the court, but my favorite is the color of the hardwood. It brought me back to 96 all over again. Sorry, I'm showing my age with this comment, but I appreciate the small stuff. It's kind of cool because the key doesn't have any paint in it, as Jack Armstrong pointed out. He's like, I'd call it the paint, but it's really just the key because there's no paint in it on this design with the court. And yeah, that was a cool look. I thought the court looked really nice. It's weird because the purple in the inside of the 3-point line, I thought they put a graphic on there over the game, but they didn't. They didn't have any of the advertisement graphics on, at least the stream I was watching. I'm sure they had it on maybe the regular TV, but I just didn't see them. But yeah, that was a really nice court. The logo's weird in the middle because it's kind of off center, but it's just a beautiful court. I think that is very true what everybody's saying. The rave reviews for Raptors design stuff this year are fully earned. Seriously, the graphic designers for the Raptors with their jerseys and their courts this year have been top notch. And the banner that we made for Vince, top notch. Everything's top notch. And the rest of the league is really like, wow, the Raptors are really a class organization. Vince feels it. Vince saw that banner. He's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen a retirement banner that looks like this. It's just so smart looking, so good. In some ways, you don't often see the face of the player on the banner, but that's the way we do it at Scotiabank with the Leaf banners. They all have their faces on there. So why wouldn't it match a bit with the hockey side of things in that building? So it made sense that Vince's face would be on there. But it's making me look forward to seeing what that Lowry one looks like. It's making me look forward to see what that hopefully Siakam, DeRozan, and Van Vliet ones look like too. That's right. All right, Trevor's telling me to do the classic card. Let's do it. Let's do the classic card of the day. Let's see what I get for today's classic card. All right, we'll do this. This is not so classic,
But let's see, what is that? 1018 is the place in the chat. I'll make sure I get back to that spot so I don't miss any comments. All right, guys. First person to write in this player's name, full name. Don't half-ass me. We'll get the classic card points. It's not so classic, as you can see. It's a Thunder player. Who knows which Thunder player this is? Let's see if you guys can get it. Spelling could matter because honestly, there's some Thunder players that have very similar names, and you might need to designate which one of those players this is, because it could very well be a player that has the same name as another player on the same team, right? So who is that? Can you guys see who that is? Can you tell who this classic card of the day is? Raptor Freak trivia points up for grabs. Let's see what y'all are saying. Let's see, Stargate's thumbing up to Blackhawk, but we're not getting an answer yet. Nobody knows who this is. Come on now. We can't tell who that is from the Thunder. I think he's still on the Thunder. He may not be, though. I don't know. I don't know for sure. They have had different roster changes because they've had such a glut of young players coming in for Sam Presti that they've kind of picked their chose who they want, and they move on from the next guy. No guesses so far. Come on now. Somebody's got to know who this classic card of the day is. It's not very classic, though, guys. This is a current card of the day. I guess I should call it that. No guesses whatsoever right now. Y'all are all stymied. Y'all don't know who that is. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look up the number and the team on Google. Just somebody help me out here. I'm like a fish out of water flopping on the ground. Come on, put me back in the fish tank. Please, somebody save me. Somebody save me. I'm flopping around like I'm the Faith No More video and they're playing the piano right now. Yeah. Yeah. Come on, y'all. Help me. Get that fish back in there. Williams. Okay. That's half-assing. Neil, that's half-assing. Williams. There's like 5 players on this team named Williams. Come on now. Oh, man. Don't do this to me. There we go. Smooth has got it. It's Kenrick. Kenrick Williams. That's right. It's not one of the Jalen Williams. It is Kenrick Williams. Good job, Smooth. Thanks for getting me that out of there. Yeah, there's the black and white picture like Dalmatis the other day. Not as yelly or like it was. But yeah, Kenrick is the one. He's out of the league. I don't know. He could be out of the league already. That's what I'm saying. I don't know anymore. All right. So the interesting things with the classic card scoring, Smooth, because you got this one, you are going to be ahead of Kareem. Kareem was the leader of our Raptor Freak trivia standings, but Smooth has gotten 3 straight classic cards. And for this one, because it was so hard, I'm going to give him 200 points. David updated the scores yesterday, and Kareem was only ahead of Smooth Brown Man by 75 points. Well, you just got 200 points, Smooth. So you're now the current leader of the Raptor Freak trivia running for this season. So very close race between Kareem and Smooth Brown Man right now. So keep it up, man. Keep it up. Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know where Ahmed is. Ahmed may be watching us at different times, but he'll come back around at the end of the season. Y'all need to build up a lead. Don't worry about where Ahmed Gaming is, because we know what he's going to do. He did this last year. He didn't come around for most of the season. And then when the playoffs start and when the Raptors maybe not playing, I'm going to do more trivias. He'll show up then, and he'll start trying to clean up then. So get a good lead, Kareem, Smooth, and whoever else is up there, because he will come back. And that's what he did to Fiercey last year. Fiercey had a huge lead, and he came back and overpassed her and won the championship last year. So don't, you guys got to be ready for him to try and do that again. Seriously. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's see. 1018 is where I was at in the chat. Let's see. Trevor's saying RJ took his former teammate to school. His former teammate to school. This is part of the fun thing I like, too, about RJ. I think that he has a lot of respect across the league. In some ways, people watch him, and, as much as people are fans of Paul George or Carmelo Anthony, I think people are fans of RJ, too, because he's that kind of prolific scorer also. In some ways, he's got friendships with tough guys like Julius Randle, and they have a lot of mutual respect. In some ways, the diplomacy of Garrett Temple being on our team, on our bench to talk to refs and having relationships with all kinds of people around the league, RJ has this kind of stuff too. And in some ways, we get more respect having RJ on our team because RJ is respected as an individual. And I like that. I like that about that. I really do. Bryce is here. Good morning, Lex from Raptor Freaks. Good morning to Bryce Lawson, holding it down for the Raptor Freak family in the state of Kentucky, y'all. Stateside, down in the Bluegrass State. Always good to see Bryce back in the chat. Wayne saying Darko has earned our recognition of being a great coach. Dunks and threes for Darko. Lex, you should have an avatar for Darko so he can get his dunks and threes.
Man, I'm totally with you on that. You know what? I think Darko is on our list, and we've given him dunks before. I'm going to give Darko a big 25er. So now he's at 26. He only had one dunk so far. So, Darko, you got 26 dunks all of a sudden on our list right there. Boom goes a dynamite. There you go. Let's see. G's saying, seeing fans of other teams saying we have the most electric 4 to 12 team and fans in the league. Also, best city court jerseys. Yeah, I mean, we're fun to watch. That's why I got mad at the beginning of the season when they rate the watchability of all 30 NBA teams. They sewer us and they put us down near the bottom. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, if you watch Scotty Barnes play, he's exciting to watch. Grady Dick is exciting to watch. RJ Barrett is exciting to watch. And I think that, y'all can hide us from the States fans, but we're going to get out and highlight clips like that alley-oop last night, and people will see the truth that watching the Raptors is fun, and we are very watchable. And whoever made that ranking, well, can you revise your ranking at this point, ESPN, about which teams in the league are the most watchable? I think the Raptors are very watchable. Very, very, very watchable. Carlos saying, Lex, when IQ gets healthy, we might become that premium shooting team. I'm hoping so. I mean, we're looking really good with our shooting lately. The confidence is high. The trust is really good. And, there was one play where Scott threw the ball over to Chris in the corner, and I knew Chris was going to make it, partly because Scotty has such a belief in Chris that he got the ball to him just in time, and he just lofted it. And the defender came and put a hand in his face, and it went swish. And Scotty was so happy to get that assist. I'm telling you, there's a lot of chemistry that is increasing our shooting percentage because these guys love and trust each other. There's a lot of that right now. That's a lot of it right there. I'm telling you. G saying, I think the refs show bias against us, but I'm also thinking part of the game plan is to foul in chunks to put the other team out of rhythm. Yes. And yes, ref manipulation can come in different forms. And maybe at the beginning of the game, they wanted to break our spirit by giving the free throw trips to the Timberwolves like crazy. Well, in some ways, we're training ourselves not to get hung up on that kind of bullshit and to just play through it and just make the best of whatever is put in front of us. And that paid off last night. Maybe they were heavy on giving free throw attempts to the Timberwolves in the first half, but it balanced out in the second half, and we got most of the free throw attempts then. And that's a fantastic thing. Wayne saying, Raptor Freaks, we are not saying championship or bust. However, there was no negativity during our bad but predictable stretch since October, but the proper development of our rookie class means we're good. I love this. This is a great assessment by Sergeant Wayne. As far as look, we went through the fire of losing, and all kinds of other teams would have gotten down on themselves, maybe turned on each other, maybe gotten all pissy and toxic. But no, this is part of why I love Darko so much. In the confusion of losing with Nick Nurse, well, things got worse and worse because vibes got bad. But Darko keeps vibes up. And in some ways, what Wayne is describing, the rookies are getting developed through adversity and losing, and we're coming out of the other side with health from our injuries, and we're seeing good results. And that's part of it, man, right there. We keep our eyes on our prize. We did our work, even though we weren't winning, and it's paying off at this point, coming through the other side. That's the thing right there. Name is saying, when Scotty first got hurt, I nearly cried because he could have lost vision permanently. Such a blessing to see him back. Plus the fact IQ does not need surgery. We have a lot to be thankful for. Yes, and yes. The other side of Scotty's recent injury is that it was to his face and wasn't to any of his limbs. Sometimes if it's a knee or an arm injury, it's a really much worse injury to try and come back from. And these kind of injuries that Scott got, it's not going to really hurt his career long-term in any kind of way. So that's fantastic. And thank God his vision was not hurt in a major way. Seriously, that would have meant he probably needed a surgery if he did have some sort of eye problem afterwards. But he can see out of it, and it's just a little bloodshot. That's what's going on. Mike's saying Boucher put similar points, and he's getting paid like $20 million less than Randall. Yeah. I mean, on any given night, you can compare different people, but Julius Randle's more consistent than Chris, night in, night out. And that's the difference right there, Mike. Wayne saying, absolutely great point, Nameless. Couple dunks for Nameless. All right, you want me to give some dunks to Nameless? We're going to do that. Nameless, my paisano, my Italian plumber, you are going to go ahead and get some dunks right here. We're going to go ahead and give you 104. That's right. You got 10 more. You're at 104, Golf 104. The Big Ben's hard rock channel, providing great Allman Brothers, Fleetwood Mac, and Queen and Aerosmith for the Big Ben area of Tallahassee. Golf 104. Golf 104.
That's right. That's right. Infamous saying, I have to call out the crowd at the arena. They seem so dead. What happened to the live crowd we used to have? Fans were leaving before the game was over in a win that was strange to me. Well, there was a Taylor Swift concert last night, and a lot of people were very wary of that. They talked about it in the chat, Matt and Jack talked about it. The way it was lining up is looking like they may get caught with the same traffic coming out of the Sky Dome at the same time, because this game started a little later. Last week when we had this concern, they got out early before the concert got out. This one was a little close. So it could be very well that some of the people that left the arena last night specifically were trying to miss the wave of Swifties that were about to come out of this Rogers Center just down the street. So that's a big part of it right there for Infamous. Now, we can't be too judgmental on the crowd right now because, once again, we're in a losing season so far. A lot of the real ones are priced out, and there's a lot of people going to games that aren't real ones like us. They're just going to be seen, or they're just going because it's their first Raptors game. They just don't understand. So in some ways, yeah, I'd love to get a wall of fans like Steve Ballmer has at the Intuit Dome. And we get that in the works, MLSE, because then we'll have real ones for sure on one edge of the floor for sure. But yeah, it is what it is. People going people. They want to leave early, they're going to leave early. I think it's classless too, but they wanted to beat the Swifties is probably what it was. That's right. That's right. Monique saying W stream, W vibes. Here's my cutoff. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Crew strong forever. And thank you once again, Monique. Your heart is my heart, and it is for the Raptors. And you went down there and you did it right. Thank you, Monique. You are such an MVP. Let's do the Instagram stories real quick. Davion Mitchell sporting that City Edition jersey, looking good. And there he is, a fan taking footage of him at the free throw line off night all day, Davion. That's right. Give that off night to Anthony Edwards. Matt Devlin showing off that beautiful court that they played on yesterday with that Vince Carter logo in the middle of the court. It looks so shiny and beautiful. They showed all the highlights of how they put it together from the hockey conversion. And man, it's all in big sections, and they got to get locked in like a jigsaw puzzle. And there's a great play in transition where they got going, and Grady went full tilt, got down the court, running as fast as he could. And there is RJ Barrett with that layup, that amazing, fantastic alley-oop. And Chris, with that one dunk that he ran in from the three-point line, he didn't take the three. He faked it and ran around them and dunked it. That was high level right there. Scotty celebrating the 110-105 victory on his Instagram. And there he is showing off the play where he got that little shot near the free throw line where he kind of up, fake, then turned around and did a little turnaround jumper away from Randall and the Timberwolves. That was a fantastic shot. And I told Scott, I said, you could do that whenever you want, man. You can do that whenever you want. And there's the RJ alley-oop from Grady. Scotty impressed by that also. His mind blown. Jonathan showing his fit coming into the game. Jonathan, isn't it fun to play with your best friend on the Toronto Raptors? There you go. There's the score. He loves it. And late in the game, later that night, around midnight last night, Jonathan's watching San Francisco play on his laptop while also playing Call of Duty. So we see him on two different screens there last night, watching his alma mater San Francisco play, and then also playing some Call of Duty at around midnight last night. Carlson is out there playing for the Oklahoma City Blue, guys. So he's not even playing for the Thunder yet. They've got him in their G League team, and he's doing some stuff for Oklahoma City Blue right now. So, yeah, Carlson, I got him on my Instagram story still. RJ got the chain last night, guys. There he is with the chain on his Instagram. Love to see it. He kind of got passed over for the chain a couple times where he could have gotten it. They gave it to Yak. They gave it to Chris. But in some of those games, RJ could have gotten it. Well, he finally got it last night, and rightfully so. And there's that alley-oop once again on RJ's highlights of him getting that ball from Grady, just kind of lofting it over to him. Beautiful stuff. Jamal Shed trading jerseys with Jarace Walker the other night against the Pacers. I did not see that jersey swap, but there it is. Let's see. Teresa Resch talking about the business case for investing in women coaches. That's very interesting. Grady Dick with that RJ alley-oop. Once again, this highlight is all over the Raptors Instagram right now. It's showing the different angles of it. It is a beautiful pass by Grady. It's a no look. That's the other crazy thing is that Grady really didn't look over to see where RJ was exactly, but he threw it perfectly. He threw it perfectly. Do you have eyes in the back of your head, Grady Dick, to be able to throw it like that? There's my guy, Yuta Watanabe, doing something with his guy, Mako. I don't know. He's doing this symbol like he's shooting a gun. What are you doing, Yuta? Come on now. There's no gun violence in Japan. They don't even hardly have any guns over there. It's really kind of good, actually. Let's see. There's the Raptors Raptor hitting the drum before the game, the 30th anniversary drum. Love to see that. Zach Edey is celebrating as Taylor Jenkins, his coach, as the most winning coach in Memphis Grizzlies franchise history. He has the most wins as a coach for the Grizzlies franchise at this point, Taylor Jenkins. So Zach is celebrating that. There's the conversions crew setting up the Raptors brand new City Edition court. All the people that are involved in this. I used to drink with these guys. Steve and I would go to this place that was next to the Maple Leaf Gardens, is where all the conversion staff would always go and drink after the games. And we would go talk to the guys that maintained the ice and set up the basketball court. And they were cool guys, very, very cool guys. Of course, I'm talking about like 20 years ago when I was hanging out with the conversion staff and just hanging out with them. There's Scotty with the glasses on the Raptors official admin. I love it, man. Love it. Such a great game last night. So enjoyable to watch. If you're a Raptors fan, we back, baby. That's right. Jamal McGlure showing all this stuff. He's saying things money can't buy: manners, morals, respect, character, common sense, trust, patience, class, integrity, and love. Things that money cannot buy. You're right, Jamal McGlure. And he's celebrating the great court we had last night. Very, very cool. Open Gym, director of photography, has got a GoFundMe up to help the family of John Butler, who passed recently, the former producer, creative person for Open Gym. There is a GoFundMe for him, just so y'all know. If y'all want to see it, it's on Open Gym DP Instagram account. Raptors 905 are playing today. Home opener is today, y'all, against Long Island Nets. Let's get down there and see them play against them. Shamshay, Tyler Perry, get out there and kick some ass. Yeah, let's get this win. And the Raptors are coming. Quincy Guerriere playing really well for Team Canada last night in Saskatoon. They're in a FIBA qualifier, so he's away from the team. And they won. They beat Dominican Republic last night. They're 3-0 in the qualifiers so far for Team Canada that's going on out in Saskatchewan right now. So good stuff there. Norman Powell heading into the game, looking dapper. And Pascal, a bunch of photo dump from being in Toronto early this week with his brothers and his sister and his nieces. And just showing, there's the family house with his dad's photo on the wall and near the stairs. And yeah, just really cool to see the behind the scenes life of Pascal. And of course, he just recently came back to Toronto, come back to home and seen everybody up here. And he's documenting it with his auteur style of filming everything these days. So yeah, really cool to see the behind the scenes of Pascal and his return to Toronto earlier this week when the Pacers lost to us. There's your Instagram stories for today. Boom goes the dynamite. Mike is saying, I saw a video yesterday where they said RJ and Yak was like a style combo similar to Kobe and Shaq. Laugh out loud. Not going to lie, the numbers from the couple games where the stats were in the right space, sustaining it is. I mean, that's not an unfair comparison. Jakob put up numbers recently that were very Shaq-like. In fact, he's on a list with guys like Shaq for putting up numbers like that. And I mean, what the comparisons of Maple Mamba to the regular Mamba are very fair also. So I don't think that this comparison is that off. It may be only for a short period of time that this phenomenon is happening, and other guys come back like Quickly and Scott, and it doesn't really have that big of a stat take up. But I think that was fair for recent past that RJ and Jakob were very Kobe and Shaq like recently. I'll take that. I'll take that. Wayne saying, I didn't mind that video, but I will take the endorsement. Logical. I didn't make that video, but I'll take the endorsement. There you go. I like that. Mo's saying, infamous. You sound like Mike Roach from the Mike Roach podcast. I was definitely loud, but I hear you for sure. Yeah, we've talked about this phenomena. The crowd at Scotiabank Arena is in trouble because we're losing. A lot of the diehards are priced out because the prices are too high, and it's more corporate types. It's more like half-ass fans. They're kind of just there because they have extra money and they can be there, but they're not as diehard as us. There's a lot of issues with this, and I don't know how the simple fix is. If they lower ticket prices, that'd help, but I don't see them doing that because they're fucking greedy. And in some ways, I'd love to see them do something like what Steve Ballmer's doing with the Clippers. That would be fantastic. You get Raptor freaks, people that are dedicated Raptor fans that are going to wear Raptors gear, and you give them a special lower price section. But you guarantee that those are real Raptors fans there, just like Steve Ballmer did with the Clippers. That's a great idea to mimic and copycat MLSC. So figure out how to do it. Figure out which end of the court you want to do it at. The one that I've been sitting at recently is the right one to do it, the one where Four Corners is. Make that whole section in the middle there real bona fide Raptors fans that, if you want us to stand the whole game like Ballmer has those guys doing, we'll do it. Make the rules for it. and we will do it. Wear our gear, get loud, cheer the whole time. I will go down there and sit in that section, and I'll pay the lower prices, and I'll put in that work as the fans in that section. I say copycat league, copycat Steve Ballmer and what he's done with that fan section at that brand new arena he opened up this year is what I'm saying right now. Carlos saying, laugh out loud on Sam Mitchell. Keep saying, keep your money and pay your rent first about that stupid parlay thing on TSN. He's a real one for that. I'm glad you brought this up, Carlo, because honestly, I'm sick of all the inundation of gambling bullshit around the sports stuff. In some ways, the old heads like Sam and Leo are agreeing with me. And they're like, we hate this shit too. And in some ways, it's like indoctrinating young people into some bad habit early on. It's like you don't give your kid a glass of alcohol or hard alcohol young. You might get them all alcoholic before you know it. And in some ways, you shouldn't be letting your kid gamble before they're old enough to understand things. And this is so true. I love that Sam called it out on that. Save your money, pay your rent. Sam Mitchell, you're a real one. In some ways, I don't always agree with you. Sometimes you drive me crazy, but also at the same time, I have a lot of respect for you, man, because you stand on the right morals on a lot of things. And yeah, calling that guy out about his timeshare, he deserved that. Calling Broadway Barrett. What the fuck is this, man? What is this guy Broadway Barrett bullshit? Oh my gosh. Monique saying, because every negative fan thing will be bad. I hate it, infamous. There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's right. Sam, laugh out loud. Mike is saying, RJ is a true pro and winner, in my opinion. He's been through so much in the last year with his brother's passing and the BS rumor thing. Yeah, that thing was nothing. And in some ways, I wish we hadn't even brought it up in our stream because that's just bullshit. Like I said, there's a lot of extraneous dumbass shit that's out there that's toxic and doesn't even need to be reiterated or repeated. So in some ways, that dumbass thing with RJ's rumor from earlier this season, let's not even bring it up again because it was unfounded and it was stupid shit is what it was. There's some dumbass fan in the States made that shit up. Who knows? It might have been a Knicks fan for all we know. Yeah, RJ is a championship piece, in my opinion. He's resilient. Yeah, you need a steady bucket getter. That's RJ Barrett. I like that. Name is saying such propaganda. RJ is like 23, bro. Most Americanos are stupid enough to believe it. And that is exactly the tactic they use to shape public perception. I know. I don't even want to talk about that situation ever again because it was demeaning to our guy. It was completely unfactual. And it was just some fucker that somewhere that has too much time on their hands to be able to try and stir up problems for our guy, RJ. And that's some ways, that's the bullshit right there. Mo's saying, I will send you a message soon now that I have the time. There you go, Mo. I like that. Cool Cat saying, Lex, you're right. Boucher has packed on more muscles on his frame. Very, very strong. Very wiry, but very strong. Very, very strong. Name is saying, all hip-hop has been infiltrated by people who intend to use it as a form of subliminal mind control. You have no idea what you're doing when you sing the lyrics and bob your head. Yes, half that shit is just like no content. Can we get back to Boogie Down Productions? Can we get back to Public Enemy? Can we get back to NWA at least? Because there were some societal messages that were just and right in even the gangster rap of NWA at that time. In some ways, this is revolutionary. This is a societal change. This is like looking to make the world better. Not this stuff that I'm seeing now. It's just relegated to this is the life and this is how it is. And we can't get out of here. And we're just doing this. Most of the hip hop back in the day was about making it out of the mud and getting somewhere with your life. But now it's just celebrating that lifestyle, that thug lifestyle, and living that ops life. It's such bullshit, man. Yeah, Name was saying, first of all, listening to music generates chemicals in your brain that are similar to drug use. So the rap game is a drug game. I won't disagree with you. This is probably very true. That there's corporate hip hop out there that is really formulaic at this time. But the formula and the message of what they're formulaically making over and over again is degrading and detrimental to society, and it's causing young people to lose their lives. Really, really stupid shit. The Drake stuff with Kendrick Lamar is a part of it. It's really stupid shit. Mo's saying it's the small version VC banner for $39. Bigger version VC banner $64 in store now. So you got a small little banner. That's cool. I want to see what it looks like. It'll be cool. Smooth saying those banners, are they produced by Mitchell and Ness? They're expensive. Well, they're going to make their money somehow. They're going to try and make their money off the prestige of it. I'm sure the amount that it costs to make it, maybe $5. They're going to mark it up, and they're going to make that money. That's what MLC is all about, right? Right? Mo's saying, not sure, Smooth Brown Man, not sure. Mike saying Masai is more connected to the team than thought. He's an alternate NBA governor, so part owner. Yeah, that may have been part of his deal that he got recently. The big deal that he got, maybe not all the terms were divulged. Maybe he became a part owner of the Raptors in his last contract negotiation. I think that's probably very likely, honestly. Probably very, very likely. Mike's saying, I think Larry sold Masai part of the Raptors, hence the new title. That could be very true. It could be part of the legacy of Larry trying to keep Masai in charge, and also to his heir apparent. In some ways, like sometimes if you're getting older and you want to pass it down, the store, your family business, you pass it down to your son. Well, in some ways, maybe Larry's figured out that Masai is that guy, and that he wants to pass down his power, his part of the power in the Raptors to Masai Ujiri, which is fantastic if this is true. Mike saying Star J is an all-star J. I like that. Star J. I like Star J. Star J is a good nickname for RJ. Let's see. Carlos saying maybe Bruce got Scotty into Westerns, got him drawing his 45s. Once again, the little cowboy tip of the hat that Scotty did for Siakam the other day. Very cute. Very cute. It was saying not only did Ant not get a tech, it was on the NBA highlights top 10. He dunked on two of our players. He never forgot and knew there was a get back coming. All right, well, receipts by Scott. He got the receipts, and we got the win too. And in some ways, that's more important to me than getting a celebration back from him. I'm more happy that the Raptors beat the Timberwolves than getting that get back. But in some ways, this is good, what you guys are saying. Infamous. That Scotty's keeping score, and he's figuring out who he has to get back at. And I like that. I like that. Stargate saying, I'm taking my daughter to the 905 game today. It's like 5 minutes from my house. She's so excited. Star J Barrett. I like that nickname. Awesome. Well, I hope, Stargate, that you'll come and join us on the 8th also, since it's so close by, and join us on that Sunday afternoon also, when Monique and I and other Raptor freaks will be converging on the Paramount 5 Food Center. You can come meet us in person and come watch the game with us also. That'd be fantastic. Awesome. Have a good time tonight, and watch out. You're going to see Scotty and them at the game because they're going to be there at courtside. The Raptors will be there supporting 905 tonight. Blackhawk is saying, I'm thinking of going to Stargate. Y'all should go. Y'all should go. If you're close by and it's easy for y'all to get there, get down there and support the 905 against the Long Island Nets tonight. And we'll be watching it on YouTube, and we'll be commenting there. Stargate tonight. It seems Naz Reid and Randall are not too fond of each other. Body language is quite telling. That's interesting. You got that read from watching last night? From Reed? You read Reed, and Reed and Randall are not exactly, there may be some stepping on toes as far as roles and what they're trying to do out there. I could see that. Interesting. Yeah, Neil and Stargate, look out for each other at the game. Who knows? I don't know how you could find out who each other are without knowing what each other look like, but who knows? Maybe you run into each other. Who knows? Carlos saying that guy is out of the league, right? Kenrick? I'm not sure. Kenrick Williams is out of the league. We talked about Amit already. Smooth saying, I only have a chance if it's 90s guys. I got lucky with that one. Well, you did good. You got it, man. You did good. You're in the lead now. Cool Cat saying, I won my first week of fantasy ball. I'm getting better. Thanks, David, for the tips. There you go, Coach Cool Cat. Doing really well on the fantasy. Let me see what's going on with me. I'm winning. I'm beating Peter as of last night. That's fantastic. Let's see. Where is Cool Cat this week? Cool Cat is beating Kaz on the road. Trucker Kaz is losing to them. And Fiercey is losing to MK right now. A couple of check-ins with our fantasy league. Y'all keep up with your teams and get them done. Get them ready for tonight. Kareem saying, I was thinking about Amit the other day. I hope he's doing well. Yeah, we worry about Amit, seeing that he lives in Israel, and that is a war zone. And there's a lot of crazy genocide going on around his country that he does not agree with. And I like to see that the international community has set up warrants for war crimes for Netanyahu right now. Hopefully this will come to fruition. He'll see justice for the barbaric, horrific things that he's doing right now to the people of Palestine. And this is a really bad situation. Amit, we wish you safety and okayness, man. And I know you're going to come back. I know he's still watching our channel on off time. He may not be here live with us, but he's still watching us. Trust me. And also, he is a part of our Facebook group, and he's in there seeing what we're doing in there too. So I'm still a part of the RFF. It's just that maybe he's busy with school and his schedule's a little different right now. It could very well be that. I expect him to come back and make a good run to try and repeat as a Raptor Freak Trivia champion. I do really expect that. So you guys got to keep going, man. And been saying we are such a hypocritical culture. We shun gun violence, but promote video games, movies, and music that celebrate it. Speaking for myself, I have no problem with guns. People kill people, not guns. Shaking my head. I mean, this is an area of expertise for me from my graduate school, and I did study gun violence and gun outcomes with death by gun. And the truth of the matter is sure, people have to shoot the gun for it to work, but the truth is the prevalence of guns is the problem. The gun manufacturers make so many guns and they want people to be scared that Obama is going to take their guns. So they go out and sell a bunch of guns in those kind of situations. In some ways, they would have been happier if Kamala had won because there would have been a bunch of people running out trying to buy more guns because they're worried she's going to take them away from them. The issue is this, and this is what I said in my master's thesis, is that more guns equals more gun deaths. That's just the damn truth. You can look around the entire world, and the countries that don't have as many guns per capita, they have way less gun deaths. And the U.S. is just inundated with a cesspool of manufacturing guns over and over again that nobody really needs. They're just out there. And what happens is they go across borders into our country and Mexico. They funnel the Mexican cartel with their murderous rampages, and they funnel the gun violence in our own city because of these guns that are overly produced in the United States. There should be a cap on how many guns they're making down there. Honestly, the unbridled capitalism of making guns without any thinking about the prevalence and the amount of guns adds up to more gun deaths is a huge part of the problem. If they capped how many guns they made, it would probably solve a lot of the issues. My whole master's thesis was on taking the population of Manitoba and comparing it to the population of Montana, which is a very similar size population, is similar characteristics as being rural and different urban centers, about the same. And well, the gun rates, the death rates in Montana are way higher than Manitoba. Well, why is that? It's because Canada has stronger gun laws, gun control laws, and we have better outcomes with not having as many people dying from gun-related deaths in this country. A dramatic difference. So, I mean, I could talk about this all day. The truth of the matter is more guns equals more gun deaths. And the manufacturers of guns in the United States are responsible for this shit. And they're the people who need to be more responsible with how often they're making guns and the amount of them in some ways. Kareem's saying, I might go to the 9:05 tonight game as well. You guys should. You guys should all go. You should. And Coolcat's saying, stay safe, the almond. All right, let's do the wrap up. We're at 2:41. It's fine. If I get in between 2 and 3 hours on certain days, because a game like last night, it's totally worth it. My 5 stars of the game for the win over Minnesota last night, RJ Barrett, Chris Boucher, Jakob Poeltl, Scotty Barnes, and Jonathan Mobo. Honorable mention to Davion Mitchell. The referees for tonight's 9:05 game against Long Island Nets, Julian Scott, Jafar Kinsey, and Mary Mallow, the Canadian ref. Let's see. Did I miss any of my tabs? There's birthdays today. Happy birthday to former Raptors, Benoit Benjamin. Benoit Benjamin is turning 60 today, guys. Isn't that crazy? Benoit Benjamin is 60 years old today. And Pop So, former Raptor from Africa, Pop So is his birthday today also. He is turning, I don't know, I can't figure this out. Let me see. If he's 6 years younger than me, then he's turning 43. He's turning 43 today. So Pop So, 43, and Benoit Benjamin, 60 is the birthdays for today. That's pretty much it, guys, for today on the chat. Check out the Kensington Variety VIP Club. It's always got funny stuff on there. I'm talking about Bernie Sanders 5 years ago. That's right. Cool Cat saying U.S.-made guns are being smuggled all over the world. It's a pandemic now around the world. For example, my birth country in the Caribbean, boats and submarines sneak into the country patrol to slow down to catch the gun smugglers. Yeah, it's a very irresponsible fucking problem. They can get on to China for the fentanyl issues, but the gun issue coming out of the United States is just as big a deal in some ways and attributing to murders and deaths around the world. Almost everything that happens in the city of Toronto with a bad gun is coming from the United States. It's just the damn truth. And in some ways, our country and our team is against gun violence. We see it on the backdrop when our Raptors are doing their interviews. Stop gun violence. That's because our team stands with the prime minister as far as trying to improve outcomes with gun violent issues that happen on our side of the border. And a lot of the prevention is better border security, catching the damn illegal guns coming across from the states in the first place. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Let's watch 905 tonight at 7 o'clock. I'm proud of my Raptors. Scotty came back with the glasses, and he could see real clearly now. And the rain is gone. The reign of L's, and now the W's are emerging for the Raptors. We've gone through the dark night, and now the dawn of a new time with the Raptors, with Scotty healthy, is coming right now. And get back on the bandwagon is what I'm saying to all the Raptors fans that jumped off of it for a little while. We welcome y'all right on back. We need everybody in the support of our team. Let's go, Raptors. Raptorize your day. Touch grass. Let's get it. 905 home opener. Let's beat the Long Island Nets tonight. Fuck the Nets. That's what I say. Let's go, Raptors.